XX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here on Monday, May 13th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect rainy skies with a high of about 84. In hour one of today's show, we'll recap LSU versus Alabama in baseball. We'll talk the Saints' latest free agent signing and a whole lot more. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let we go.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back, OTB. T-Bob Hebert, Jacob back, and Taylor Sharp hanging out with you today. Jake Hester will be here shortly. He is having to do some school stuff with the kids this morning, so he'll be here very soon. But, there's no easy way to talk about what went down in Tuscaloosa this weekend. And I hope you're all having a great day. Let's have ourselves a great week as we started off. School getting ready in. Summer right around the corner. But unfortunately for LSU baseball fans, summer may be starting a little bit sooner than you would have hoped for, or a bit sooner than would have been expected coming out of last year, as your LSU Tigers go on the road into Tuscaloosa this weekend, needing 2 of 3 to win their 4th SEC series in a row and keep hopes alive for a potential postseason berth, trying to hit that 13-win mark. And, well, they found about every single way possible not to get 2 of 3. YouTube.com/1045 ESPN. If you want to get your takes in there, you can always hop in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat and follow along with us there. And hit the like button, subscribe to OTB Saints, OTB LSU. Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a truth about sports that bad teams find a way to lose, and LSU had to really reach deep on this one, as I said. And it starts with game 1, because that is a game that you absolutely should have had, and it is a game that cast a very long shadow over the rest of this series. In fact, in many ways, there was a lot of mental toughness displayed by LSU, managing to have this rest series play out as it did after just a complete and utter collapse on Friday night. And it kind of started early on, right? As we said, bad teams finding ways to lose. Early on, Tommy White knocked in, rounded all the way from first, coming home, and, review shows that he never touched third base. A run off the board. Fine, though. You're still battling. Gage Jump doing his thing. The bats find a way. And I believe in the 8th, are you up 3 when you manage to push 2 more across to go up 5? So you get your 2 insurance runs in the 8th. You can play a little small ball to get one of them. Like, it feels like, okay, like that is exactly what you need to do to go ahead and lock up a Game 1 victory. And you got your best relievers on the mound. I mean, you had Christian Little on the mound right there. Well, he gives up a 2-run shot. Harry comes in. That's okay. It's still all good. You're still up 1 by the end of the 8th inning, and it looked as if Griffin Herron was going to cruise through that 9th. Right? It was so wild, and then it felt like, because he gets the initial 2 strikeouts, and then it felt like watching a car wreck unfold in agonizingly slow motion. Multiple times, Alabama down to the last strike of the game. I believe you end up going, what was it? Walk, hit, batter. All of a sudden, the bases are loaded, and very weak contact made. Alex Milazzo, your defensive stopper, your defensive option there at catcher, sacrificed a little offensive productivity for defensive acumen. After the little dribbler starts to roll towards Herring, he immediately calls him off, says, I've got it. The throw down to first, wide of Jared Jones. Crosses him up with the batter, and next thing you know, Alabama plates not one, but two, and walks it off on an errant throw from home to first. As I said, Milazzo, completely confident in his ability to make the play, just did not make it. And I don't know that there is a better microcosm of how this entire year has gone for this LSU baseball team than game one against Alabama. And it's because, look, you can see some of the good. You can see some of the potential. Bear Jones was incredible. Tommy White ended up giving you another home run in which he very clearly, after not stepping up there the first time around, very clearly made contact with the third base on his trot around the bases. Stephen Milam continues to be fantastic. Gage jump was solid. The relievers were not good, but as I said, microcosm of the team. Well, the bullpen's been pretty bad all year long, save for a kind of recent stretch here. But most importantly, why I think it represents how this entire year has gone is because, again, LSU had to find ways to lose. Getting to these high leverage moments, but consistently coming out on the wrong end of them. And probably the most disappointing part about Friday, I mean, besides the game ending on an error that you should have had, it feels like so many times in critical situations this year that has happened. I mean, you use Christian Little and Griffin Herring, and they go for, in 3 innings, combined 5 runs, 4 hits, hit batter, 4 walks in a game you had to have. So you lose game one, but that's all right. You know, still mathematically not done. You have a chance. And credit to LSU, as I said, some mental toughness displayed. You come back and you win a game 2 on a night in which Luke Holman did not fully have it. Ackenhausen did a great job of coming in, battling, finding a way to set up Gavin Guidry to close it out. Again, Guidry get up there with confidence, and you win game number 2. Okay. Yes, the disappointment of game 1 is brutal. But you still have a shot. You did what you needed to do on Saturday. Now you just have to go and do something that you really almost haven't done all year long, save for once, and that's win a Sunday's game. You win the game, you win the series, you extend the season. And what does it end up becoming? Another day in another different way to disappoint. Remember, we talked about Alabama starter Hess on Friday, in that here was a guy that did not have a good record, did not have a good ERA, 7+. He did have some pretty wild strikeout numbers, right? Over 70 Ks and 40-something innings pitched. So a guy who had a high strikeout ability, and, well, it was on display from the beginning as he takes the first 4 out. Struck out the first 4 that he saw. In the end, you let a man with a 7 ERA and a must-have-it season-on-the-line game go 6 2/3, giving up 1 run with 10 Ks. The Alabama lineup has been the strong portion of this team. Like we said, 5 hitters in conference, batting over 300, just 2 for LSU, who were barely batting over 300. The Alabama staff had been their weak point. And if you would have told me that LSU's Sunday staff, which has been abysmal, would hold that Alabama lineup to 4 runs, I would have told you, well, damn, that is good enough. The LSU should win that game. And unfortunately, the Bats just couldn't get anything going. That's what I'm saying. Another day, another different way to disappoint, despite the Bats really hitting the ball quite well all weekend long, and against the best pitching of Alabama, acquitting themselves well when it came to their back end. LSU could not make it happen when they had to. I'm especially kind of impressed with what LSU's staff managed to do on Sunday, because you gave up 4 pretty much off the jump. Dutton gives up 3 in the second inning. You end up giving up another 1 in the third. And so all of a sudden you're in this deep, deep hole. It feels like, oh, toss your hands up. Here we go. Another Sunday run rule. And, well, through a mixture of who all came in. Fidel Loa. Who else am I missing on Sunday? Christian Little ended up coming in as well. And they did a good job. You get out of a bases loaded jam in the 7th. You get some offense going in the 8th. You got 2nd and 3rd with no out. You're only down 4-2. And once again, high leverage moment. Nobody could come up with the hit. Leadoff single on the 9th leads to nothing because nobody could come up with the hit. So in the end, you lose Sunday, you lose the series, and you lose the season because it's another close run situation in which you just could not find the play to win the game. So much good over the weekend, really. I mean, it's hidden, but there's a ton of it. But again, you had to actively find ways to lose this series and therefore the season. And in the end, it is a season defined by missed expectation due to critical errors and or inability to step up in critical situations. I would say that it's also a season defined by a black hole on Sunday's mound, the likes of which I've never seen, not watching LSU baseball. You are now 1-8 in series finales in the SEC. That is, you should honestly have a worse conference record with a Sunday record like that. You're 1-8 in Sundays in the SEC, and you've been run ruled in half, 4 of those 8 losses. Never seen anything like it. Even in years in which Sundays have been pieced together in the past for LSU, you still manage to win maybe like 40% of the time, maybe right there at 50%. And so now when you look up, LSU would have to sweep Ole Miss to have a chance at hoping, but this team doesn't quite seem good enough to sweep anyone. Even scarier, a sweep requires winning on Sunday, Game 3. Well, in this case, Saturday, as the Ole Miss series will start this Thursday, 6 p.m. on SEC Network. So it sucks. It sucks. And look, make no mistake, it sucks for no one worse than those players. They've done everything they can. They've committed. They dug deep this second half of the season. They've tried to find a way to dig out of the hole. And it's interesting because for the first half of the season, kind of the constant argument that I was making is, look, this is not a great team, but this team is probably better than what its record and what their current level of play shows. The question becomes how much better. And I have to be honest. I think I thought they were a bit better than this, right? I didn't think they were hosting worthy, obviously. We said that many, many weeks ago. But I thought they were a bit better than missing the tournament entirely. I did think that they were going to find a way, and potentially mathematically, whatever, the Ole Miss sweep is still in play. But in terms of what feels most likely, does not seem like you will see LSU in the postseason this year. And it's incredibly disappointing coming off a national championship. And it's we'll see how this program and this team responds. I want to see how they respond even coming up this Thursday. All right, why don't we do this? Let's go to break here. We'll respect the clock. Get to all your comments next. We'll let Taylor and Jacob weigh in if they want to on this series as well. As always, if you want to get involved, youtube.com/1045ESPN. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up, guys. That helps please the algorithmic gods that rule our existence. Jake will be in pretty soon here, just doing some school stuff with the kiddos first. So keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to Coleman Roof, ColemanRoof.com. Coleman Roofing and Construction, man. Look, you need any type of roof, right? That means literally like any type, right? They've certified solars for all the major brands. It's metal sheet, whatever. It doesn't matter. You need any size job, commercial or residential. Coleman can do it. You need any job in Louisiana. In fact, anywhere in the Gulf South region. Again, yes. Coleman Roofing and Construction has your back. And you see how it's Coleman Roofing and Construction? That's because they do the interior as well. So let's say you have like water damage, right? Well, they'll come in, they'll fix the drywall, insulation, whatever you need. A tree falls in the house, that's okay. They rebuild it, they fix it all. That's why we say they are the most complete roofing company in Louisiana. And when you look at their reviews, you see why we also say that they are the most reliable and the most respected roofing company in Louisiana. So you need somebody who's going to fight for you and your job and make sure that your job is done correctly, well, and quickly. You want Coleman Roof. Go to Coleman Roof and Construction, ColemanRoof.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the
Join me for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, reacting to LSU and Alabama from Tuscaloosa and Paul Skeen's Major League debut. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to OTB. Just doing a little therapy here, trying to make sense of the LSU series loss to Alabama. And let's get some of your comments real quick here. James Hendrick saying, could Milazzo have just kept the ball and got the out at home, or was it not a force? It would have been a force. If you were going to do that, though, Milazzo had to sprint out about halfway to the mound to get that ball. He called off Herring very early, right? In the end, it would have been close for Milazzo or Herring to make that play at first. I do like a decisive call-off. The play has to be executed, however. But if you were going to get the force out at home, that was off the table immediately when Milazzo started running forward. It would have had to been Herring charging the ball and getting to Milazzo at home, which Well, I'd have to go back in the replay, think how much of a chance that would have to happen. I think that would have taken, because it wasn't like a bunt situation where Herring would have been charging, or primed to charge, if you will. So I don't think the wrong play was made. I just think it wasn't executed correctly. I like when it's a gray area situation, you have to have someone who takes the initiative and makes the call. And it's very clear. Milazzo said, my ball, my ball, my ball. You see Herring back up, and he goes to make the throw, and he just loses it, man. Just loses it, man. And then you lose the game because of that. Johnny says, mediocre catching blew a series sweep. Milazzo Friday night, and then Neal cost us 2 runs on a pass ball yesterday. Mediocre catching has been, I would say, one of the surprises of the entire year. You lead the SEC in passed balls this year and wild pitches, and it's just a bit surprising given that so much of the offseason conversation and even early season conversation was about how you had an embarrassment of riches at catcher. Your cup overfloweth, right, between Travinski, Milazzo, Neal, and you just really haven't found anyone that you're comfortable there with offensively or defensively. I mean, even Travinski as well, not even in the DH on Sunday. 1 for his last 21 in the SEC. Not how you would ever want anybody's kind of, a streak that nobody would ever want to go on, much less when you are a senior leader going into the final games of your career. That's about as disappointing as it could get going out. Nookie with a very good point says the Sunday pitching was more than enough to win. Yeah, I want to say after Griffin and Little kind of fell apart on Friday, I think the bullpen went 10 1/3, giving up maybe only 1 or 2 runs, maybe 2 or 3. Like, it was actually a very good bullpen performance by LSU from that moment forward. But Nookie, with a good point, I mentioned Sunday being a black hole in the mound, which it has been with some of the run rules, but at the plate is probably actually where the bigger disappointment lies. He says, the Sunday pitching was more than enough to win, surprisingly. But the Game 3 offense this season has averaged 3.9 runs with a max of 6 in the sole win versus Mizzou. There is your season. Game 3 should be your big offensive day due to thinner pitching on the other side. Averaging less than 4 runs those days is a wild stat. Complete lack of hunger. Yeah, that's something we're going to have to ask Coach Jay Johnson about, because that is that does boggle the mind, right? I know this LSU team is not the best hitting one, but they tend to hit better on the Fridays and Saturdays against the best pitchers that they face. I wonder what is going on Sunday. Is it overconfidence to cause them to never be able to put together one of those Sunday crooked big performances that you see throughout the entirety of the league? And if you look at where LSU kind of ranks low in conference play and things like runs scored and whatnot, I feel like you could almost point to Sunday as the villain or the source of a lot of those statistical woes. All right, let's open up the mic a little bit here. Taylor, Jacob, if y'all have any thoughts on the series, Taylor, we'll start with you. What's your big takeaway as LSU drops the series and potentially the season to Alabama?
I mean, it's more of the same that we've seen all year, T-Bob. You mentioned it, like, nobody could come up with the clutch hit. And when I was driving to work this morning, I started thinking, I was like, it's not dissimilar to the Pelicans, right? They've been kind of up and down all year long, but you don't have that killer on that team. You don't have that one guy where you're like, hey, we need a big hit, but don't worry, this guy's coming up to the plate. Like, you don't really have that. At times it's been Tommy White. He's been inconsistent. At times it's been Josh Pearson. He's been inconsistent. I mean, you don't have that one guy where you're like, hey, bases loaded, 2 outs, but I got confidence that this guy's going to get a hit. You had 3 or 4 guys on last year's team that you felt good about. I don't see that on this year's team. That's my biggest issue. You also talked about catching. We talked about it earlier in the year. It's like, hey, most teams have 1 catcher that you feel good about. You have 3. Travinski basically plays no catcher at all now. And you're like, well, Milazzo, you're sacrificing offense to defense. He hasn't been good defensively. And then Neal hasn't been good offensively for most of the year. So it's like every single person on this team, and you thought this was going to be their specialty, it's not. Like even Braswell for most of the year, right? You're like, oh, he's going to be solid at defense. He's going to struggle hitting. It's been the reverse. He's been one of your better hitters, but he struggled in the field. And then I've seen a lot of people say, well, that play at first could have been on Jared Jones. And it's so funny to say because it's like, that's such a hard play to make at first base, but we're also used to Trey Morgan being over there, and Trey Morgan does make that play. So it's like that's what happens when you have a generational guy at first base. Your expectations change. I don't blame Jared Jones for that. I thought the play was way wide, but it's just every elite guy you had last year.
He threw it across his face. He threw it the part that you can't throw it to. If you're going to miss, stretch him out and miss him towards the field. Obviously, right? Everybody, yeah. I'm not saying anything creative here.
Elite player you had last year, you're like, can we weather it, right? You're not going to replace him fully, but can we kind of maintain it? You haven't been able to do that. I mean, the guys that have stepped in have just not stepped up the way they were supposed to, and that's why you're likely going to be out in postseason play.
Beck, what you got? You got anything?
Yeah, I just think at this point, I'm not expecting LSU to win on Sunday. So when you think that way, which is not a great way to think, but at this point, like you said, they're 1-8 on Sunday. So you got to win Friday and Saturday. And Friday may have been the worst meltdown they've had all season. And to me, watching that last inning, when the bases get loaded, I'm kind of confused as to why Nate Yeskie doesn't go out there or Jay Johnson.
Yeah.
Somebody, why don't we do a mound visit there? Like clearly Herring is struggling. Like he's missing a lot of pitches and no one, not even the catcher goes out there. I think Milazzo went out there maybe a few batters earlier, but I'm kind of confused as you have the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth inning and you don't at least try to talk to him, give him a chance to catch his breath, and then it's just. You expect with Milazzo in the game that he can make that play. It was not an easy play, but you expect Milazzo as a good defensive catcher to make that play, and he just doesn't. And there's your season.
And I mean, to your point, Caleb Brignac, the 104.5 Bayou Ford YouTube chat. I will never understand why the coaches did not make a mound visit at any point in the ninth on Friday night. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to not make the stage too big. I don't know what it is, but again, it's just add it to the laundry list of ways that LSU has found to lose this year. Help me run through them. Taylor and Jacob. There's the kicked ball against Florida in the eighth inning.
And you win that series if you get that.
Is there a Braswell error somewhere in there?
So it wasn't late in the game, but early in a couple of the games, back-to-back innings. I'm trying to remember who it was. It may have been Arkansas. He had a kicked ball at short. You get out of the inning both times that happened. You fail to get out. They score 2 runs.
This isn't exactly an error. This is just kind of getting beat, but there was that late home run against Vandy when you were up a run in the eighth and you were down to your final 4 outs there. It's just been time and time. And again, a 1-8 record on Sundays. And look, for Coach Jay Johnson, I think that this is this year. I'll be fascinated to see what the lessons that he draws from this year are. I still believe that man is one of the best coaches in America. I think this LSU program is going to continue to be very good. But I do think that, look, in winning a national championship, that it's something that he had never done before. And I think that comes with its own unique challenges, and that's not even to mention, again, who you're replacing. I mean, did you see what Paul Skeens did on Saturday against the Atlanta Braves? Like, that's who you had last year, along with Cruz and everybody else. Like, we all know the deal. So, in terms of, this idea of reloading, and can you ever get to a point where you achieve the old Alabama football thing of we don't rebuild, we just reload? There's going to have to be some very deep introspection to try to figure out exactly how did this go so awry? Because on paper, this team should be better than they are. And again, if you even look at things like their out-of-conference record, that would point to a team that should be better than it is. Why did this team, why did guys that were good last year take marked steps back? And why did guys who have all this potential fail to live up to it and fail to fulfill it? And the problem is, I don't think these are not always going to be obvious, quantifiable answers that you're seeking. A lot of it's just going to come down to your read on the situation and trying to figure out best operating procedures to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that's again, that's going to be to your coaching acumen and everything else. I do know this. I never question Jay Johnson from an effort standpoint, and he will exhaust every resource that he has, every waking minute that he has to trying to find these answers, but sometimes they can be very tough to find. And unless you somehow find a way to sweep an Ole Miss team that what now, Taylor, you said has won 2 SEC series in a row?
Yeah, so they beat Auburn, and then they won game 1 and 2 against Texas A&M this past weekend. Now, they got shut out in game 3, but, I mean, that's not that dissimilar to LSU, right? An underperforming team. And coming into this series, LSU was hot as well. I mean, that's Ole Miss, but right now, Ole Miss actually has more SEC wins than you do. So I know, they're coming in, and everybody's like, hey, Ole Miss is an SEC bottom feeder. You should win this series. They're a lot more similar to you than a lot of people think. I mean, they're kind of peaking at the right time as well.
So we'll see what ends up happening this weekend, but certainly just with everything that went down against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, where, again, we told you, man, what sucks is going into Tuscaloosa and winning the series was never going to be easy, right? They beaten Arkansas, that building. They beaten South Carolina in that building. And then I believe it was Tennessee or Vanderbilt. I think it was Tennessee in that building as well. A&M was the only one that had gone in and gotten a series victory. And what makes this all hurt so much more is that you actually did what you needed to do to become the second team to do that. It's just that, so many times this year, you shot yourself in the foot and were unable to capitalize. A lot of good foundational work, but when it got to the tipping point, you consistently failed this season. All right, when we get back, I got some interesting comments in the chat that I still want to get to, and eventually we'll move on. I don't know if we'll stick all of hour one on here. I still want to get to some Saints talk. We got weekend winner stuff coming up later as well. So keep it locked right here on 104.5 ESPN.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. You go to Go Tommy's and you will see the difference clearly. GEAUXTommys.com, GEAUXTommys.com. Look, man, you need somebody that you can depend on that's going to treat you the correct way. Well, that's Tommy's. He's been in this game for 27 years, right? And after 20 years in the Windows, he said, you know what? I've learned a ton over these 2 decades, and there are some things that I think we can do better. And that's why now for all 7 years of Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding existence, they've taken home that Angie's Service Award. That's also why I feel so confident to say for your job, if you need hardy plank or vinyl siding, you need wood or vinyl windows, you need any type of door, make Tommy's one of the bids on your job. I'm not even saying use them outright, right? Make them one of the bids and let them prove to you why you'll see the difference clearly. Okay, so schedule that installation today. Check them out, GEAUXTommys.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for you. Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU, Alabama, and baseball. David DeLucci will be here, and our takeaways from Saints rookie minicamp, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, let's get to some more of these comments here coming in from y'all. The body language all season has just been weird. I never want to say kids don't care, but I didn't see much anger or frustration, resignation way too often. T-Bat would say, definitely the motivational piece seems non-existent. Like instead of the old, quote, find a way to win, it seems like they're not pushing, not fighting, loser mindset. I think, how do y'all feel about this? I think these are always kind of dangerous angles to explore because everything is so results-based and the results are going to color however, however we view this. Like if you had lost these games, but you'd seen somebody like yelling in the dugout at your teammates, would that change how you felt about this? Or is this just how we kind of process what has been a very disappointing season? That said, where are the late game heroics this year? I mean, obviously you had some with Bear Jones in the midweek this week, so I guess, and I mean, also that said, these Sunday results would speak to something about this. Again, the anemic 3.9 runs scored on Sunday that Nookie pointed out is that is baffling, and that, like, when you think about that, the word resignation definitely does pop into your head. So how do you guys interpret this?
A lot of times I'll be like, oh, fans are being reactionary. It's not as bad as you think it is. But look, we got to remember, Jay Johnson, publicly announces that he took away the kids' cell phones in the locker room and all that. And, you kind of laugh at that and you're like, that's a high school move and all that. But it's like something had to have been wrong for him to have done that. I mean, when's the last time you heard a coach on the college level being like, oh, you can't have your phones. Like, you got to stay focused.
Yeah.
You got to remember, this is a young team. Like you mentioned, we were talking during break. Yeah, this is the #1 recruiting class in the country, but there was a lot of them too. I mean, you have a lot of young guys. None of your starting pitchers, at least Friday, Saturday, were even on this team last year. And Gage Jump had barely pitched in college before this year. And he's one of the guys where you're like, hey, he's not a freshman, but I mean, look at all the young guys you have out there, or the first-time starters. Like, this is Jared Jones's first time being the everyday first baseman. he came in as a catcher. I mean, this is
and he
kind
was awesome. Like Jared Jones is not a problem.
He was great, but
he's
like,
one of the few bright spots on this team.
He came in as a catcher, and it's like, this is technically his first year doing that. And like you said, like he's been awesome, but there are a lot of new guys and a lot of new spots, and you're having to count on a lot of younger guys. Like we thought he was talented. We did not think that Stephen Milam and Ashton Larson were going to be everyday players this early in the season, especially not Milam. Like we saw their potential, but we were like, hey, it's going to be Josh Pearson at second. Like all year long, you're like, hey, it's Pearson at second. You're going to have 3 veterans in the outfielders. A lot of young guys had to step up before they were ready.
Well, I mean, not just you didn't maybe think that they were going to be everyday players, but be like some of your best players. Like Milam
2 guys
ends.
You count on the most.
Yeah, I'd say Milam and Larson end with some of the best, or it's not ending yet. We got a weekend left. But right now have some of the best in-conference batting averages on the entire team. I mean, Steve Milam has been on an absolute tear as of late. And defensively, he was he was probably your most consistent. Well, I would say Tommy White was the most consistent infielder actually this year. He was fantastic at third.
His double plays though, like he's been great as well.
No, he's great. No, he's great as well. Don't get me wrong. I just did want to give White some flowers because he's been uber consistent at third. Beck, I saw you moving the mic. What do you think about this idea of like player motivation?
Yeah, I think you have to wonder, and it's also I think when the players, they talked about it before the season, like they tried to say that last season's last season, this is a new season. We're not going to talk about being defending champions, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's in your head. And when you start off as slowly, well, not in the SEC play, when you start off as slowly as they did, there's just no way to not have those thoughts in your head. Like, man, what happened? Like, why are we struggling so much compared to last year? And it's just, I think it's just pretty clear that the guys just aren't nearly as confident as they were last year. And I think that's so big.
I mean, Nookie says the young guys are not the problem. Larson, it is interesting. Like, I mean, they kind of really weren't, right? Like, in the end, the problem were the returning guys, either not improving, not building, or in most cases, feeling like actively regressing, right? Like, Tommy White's probably the only guy. Okay, well, actually, before I say something bold here, when you think about who returned on this team, I would say that Tommy White stayed who Tommy White is. He's been awesome throughout the year. I think he would have liked to hit a little better for average probably, but at the same time, he does not have a ton of protection in this lineup and hasn't all year long. He hasn't had the opportunities to drive runs in that he had last year. Like, I think Tommy White's been fine and has kept his pace. Has any other returning player, okay, I would say Bear Jones improved.
Yeah, because his SEC play was bad.
Yeah, and it's been great this year, and he was fantastic on Friday. Basically tried to win you that game single-handedly. Has any other returning player gotten better?
I mean, could you say Griffin Herring? I know he was pretty good last year, but
that's fair. Griffin Herring, absolutely.
At the same time, he's been one of the best relief pitchers in all of
No,
SEC.
you are. That's a great call, Jake. Griffin Herring to be someone who improved. But is
other than that
it?
Yeah, I mean,
not Kling, not Travinsky, not Malazzo, not Brady
Pearson.
Neal. No, Pearson. I my hesitance comes from like down the stretch here. Pearson's been much better, and he does find the big hit. It seems like more often than anybody else on this team. So his is not the abject disaster or the major steps back that some of these other have. But yes, certainly you would maybe hope for a more consistent production through him throughout the entirety of the season.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, he's kind of what he was last year. He struggled at the beginning of the year. He was big for you in Omaha, not dissimilar to what you're talking about now. Like, big for you.
Yeah.
I guess it's like the expectations for him coming in the year were so big. Like we said, like, oh, he's either going to be your everyday starter in right field or he's going to be your everyday starter at second. Neither of those things happened, which is why you had to count on these younger guys that have been great, but you were like, we want that veteran leadership like Josh Pearson in the lineup. His play wasn't good enough at the beginning of the year to warrant that. So it's like, yeah, he is kind of what he was last year, but he didn't live up to the preseason expectations.
A Christian Little improved. That would be somebody who got better. Good call, Avo Marzwani in the chat. Like you said, Braswell improved on offense. That's true, but I'm not counting. I'm talking about returning LSU players, but.
And you could even argue for Braswell that while his offense has definitely improved, his defense was just completely opposite. So it's almost like it kind of balances out in my opinion.
Yeah, he made a couple nice plays this week, but y'all are absolutely correct. Even down to, yes, you win the series last week, but that kicked ball in the ninth inning against A&M was damn near another one of these moments that we sit here and weep and gnash our teeth about. But I think that is because like somebody earlier, what was it? GNFNR said, is there a single thing that is better with this year's baseball team than last? He goes on to say that's coaching and recruiting. I do think I agree that you've probably taken a step back in every facet of the team. But the recruiting part is odd to me because you had the number one recruiting class in the entire country. And I believe the top transfer portal class, or at least damn near the top. And as we just kind of talked about, like the new guys were fine. So I think what this staff has to be really, really honest with themselves about is trying to figure out what happened with all these returning players. Is it a championship hangover? Was the hunger gone? Is satisfaction? Is it, Nate Yeskie not connecting with this staff in the same way that Wes Johnson did? Look, Wes Johnson's a premier coach though, right? Go read Jeff Passan's piece about Paul Skeens getting called up to the big and see how much Skeens talks about Johnson and what he meant to him and his development. Remember that Wes Johnson had the Minnesota Twins, a team whose staff was awful, brought them to the best ERA in their division by the time that he actively left the Twins. And then look what Georgia's done pretty good, or done this year with him as head coach. Like, it's a very good baseball coach. So, in a weird way, you could say the future remains bright because the young guys are the strengths of this team, but you do have to question, well, what went so wrong with the upperclassmen and why have so many of them taken steps back? All right, let's close out hour number one. Again, Hess will be here soon. Let's close out hour number one of OTB.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to K2Z window coverings, KTOZblinds.com, KTOZblinds.com. You go to K2Z window coverage today. You want window coverings that wow. You want K to Z. Have them come out to your home and get that free professional estimate, okay? Let them look exactly how sunlight interacts with your home at every single portion of the day, and they'll find you solutions that both work aesthetically and functionally. If you have ever, it's funny, as you become an adult, I think one of those adulthood moments is seeing the visceral difference that is made in a room when you go from just your basic no blinds to maybe like you add some drapes, maybe you add some nice blinds, like whatever it is, nothing brings together a room, makes it something pop, makes it feel more complete than the correct window coverings. And that's where K to Z comes into play. So again, get that free professional estimate today. Have branded out to your home. K to Z window coverings, KTOZblinds.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call
Join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch from Walk-Ons in Brewley. Take a look back at LSU's series with Alabama. Where did softball end up in a huge weekend in the NBA playoffs? Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
People come up. Yeah. Turn the bass up on this one. Check it. Since 1516, minds attacked and overseen. Now call them the rumors of this empty dream. With their borders and boots on top of us.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
I mean, has Shoebang nailed it? I think the biggest problem we have is a lack of thick boys on this team. Cooper and Beloso left massive holes, no pun intended. Thick boys carried this team and they needed it most. Severe and stark lack of broad shoulders and beer guts causing this team to fail. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, Ackenhausen, not that thick. Thicker than most, but not that thick. I mean, yeah, there's no fat guys on this team.
Well, he's also
every great baseball team needs one fat guy.
Act's also by himself now, right? He doesn't have his thick boy buddies with him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, when all of a sudden, when he's not next, when the thick squad's no longer there, you're like, oh, Ackenhausen's actually in pretty good shape. Like, he's actually not that thick. There's no guts. There's not a single gut to be had on that LSU roster. Chris Little says, how many dudes get in the portal after the lackluster season? I mean, I wouldn't think many. If anything, I think that this is a good reset for this team, right? Again, I do want to see how this team responds. But it feels like this is what makes those young cats kind of hungry to climb back to the top. I've seen it firsthand. I hate doing the on my day thing, but so I was a part of a team that won the 07 championship. 08, we go 3-5 in the SEC, 8-5 overall. An objectively awful year, especially by golden era football standards. And it created a hunger and a humble approach that, again, maybe, championship bellies were a bit, you weren't starved anymore. All of a sudden you were again. And from there it was 9-4, 11-2, 13-1, right? So sometimes these years can be used to kind of reignite. Shoebank says, Wes Johnson didn't just make Skeens better. There's no doubt in my mind that he was the reason Nate Ackenhausen, Riley Cooper were as good as they were and helped JJ with the pen and rotations. Look, no doubt. Again, I've said it. Wes Johnson, objectively a great coach, obviously, right? The question is, how good is Nate Yeske? And on that, I feel more insecure on answering. I'm a baseball lover. I'm by no means a baseball expert. If y'all listen to this show, you know that. I would let guys like Hunt, Musso, Moscona, Terrio. I would let better baseball minds let me know what they think about Nate Yeskie. But the correlating evidence does not feel great. And again, it's one of those weird situations where what could suck for Yeskie is like, what if it's not even about him being bad as much as it is about Wes Johnson being very good? And that's something always that is really tough to kind of parse through. How do you make a decision based off of that? What if this guy's fine, but the other guy was just awesome, right? Can you go find awesome again? Do you make another switch? I mean, how many years in a row would that be a pitching coach change for LSU? Would that make it 4 in a row or 3 in a row? I feel like it's been a lot lately, which is good. Like, right? You want to hire guys that get hired away. That means you're hiring well. But I guess all I'm getting at is I see why people are upset with Nate Yeskie when you look at what the staff did. Though the second half of the season, they actually did strengthen up quite considerably. But I understand why people are disappointed and upset. I just don't trust my own expertise to make a call on a job. Football, feel very comfortable in doing that. Baseball, I may have to rely on others as well as y'all. So we'll see. What do you think? Let me know in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Jake going to be back here in a minute. Remember, if you want to get involved, youtube.com/1045 ESPN. Hit the like button. Hour 1 of the books. Hour 2 coming up next.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to Rejuve Me Medical. Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. You need someone who is going to help you feel younger and fight the untreated effects of aging. Go check out what Rejuve Me can offer you, man. Get that free consultation, okay? And when you do so, you're going to draw your labs, and your body is going to be the guide to tell them what you need. Like maybe HRT, hormone replacement therapy, maybe that's for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe semaglutide is a great option for you. Again, maybe it's not. Maybe like your lack of energy is something as simple like just some B vitamin shots could fix. Maybe not. The point is, it's never a one-size-fits-all plan at Rejuve Me. It's a size custom bespoke for you, okay? So let them customize that plan to make you feel younger, better, stronger, faster, get that energy and confidence that you used to have. And I don't care if you're male, female, any age, it's all there at RejuveMeMedical.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, Our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here on Monday, May 13th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect rainy skies with a high of 84. In hour 2 of today's show, we'll talk the New Orleans Saints with their latest free agent signing, some LSU football, the NFL story of the day, and a whole lot more. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let we go.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome in hour number 2 of OTB. T-Bob, Jacob Beck, Taylor Sharp hanging out with you today. Jake Hester be here soon, dealing with some kids and school stuff, man. Let's start with a quick conversation. I do want to get into the Saints offensive line. Also, Saints rookie mini camp taking place this weekend, for whatever that is worth. Clint Kubiak, I believe, being made. Was Kubiak available to the media, I believe? Yes?
Yeah.
No? Yeah. So we will get there this hour. A little bit of Pirtle updates coming from LSU football. But this was asked very early on in the show in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, which, by the way, youtube.com/1045 ESPN. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. More disappointing season. Once nationally number 2 softball, once nationally number 2 baseball, or once number 4 Pelicans. I feel this is pretty obvious. Softball is still the 9 seed after an impressive SEC tournament. They barely missed out on being a super regional host. They will be a regional host. There are no SEC teams in that docket. UL not in that docket either. I think Coach Torina's squad is just fine and has nothing to hang their head about. The number 3 RPI in the entire country for LSU softball. So a really solid year from the Tigers there. And again, I'm thinking about getting out of Tiger Park this weekend for some action there on the berm. The number 4 Pelicans, yes. How it ended, getting swept by the Thunder, having the worst offense of any playoff team in the last 8 years, which I read today, a little Christian Clark nugget that I was not aware of. I mean, you knew it felt horrible against the Thunder, but worse than the last 8 years is maybe even a bit more extreme than what I had originally thought. But still, kind of like laid out at the end of the year. This is 49 wins for the New Orleans Pelicans. It's a third year in a row now where you've increased the win total. You managed to at least make it to a playoff series, which was the goal. You had the best road record in the entirety of the NBA. And more so than anything, this was who knows how the playoffs goes if the injury demon that haunts the Pelicans doesn't show up again at the literal worst possible time that you could not have written it worse, with Zion having his career night against the Lakers. We all know what went down. And then not just getting injured, but the type of injury being the most insecurity exacerbating injury that you could imagine, right? Like a hamstring on a guy whose entire concern is is he too powerful for his own body. So do both of those have their disappointing moments? Sure, right? Softball started 24-0. Pelicans looked like for sure they were going to be a top 6 seed at one point. But let's not act like either of that comes close to what you saw out of LSU baseball this year. As you were defending national champs, you were thought maybe to be the best team in the entire country coming back. Again, it looked like you had a dominant. Remember, like if we could just go back and play our conversations from the pre-SEC portion of the season, it would feel almost comical. And what's wild is it wasn't just all off-season conjecture. Like certainly, yes, a lot of it was, but LSU was excellent out of conference. What did they enter conference play? Like 21-3 or something like that? Or I mean, maybe a couple of losses mixed in. Like they looked very much like one of the best teams in the entire country. And then you started that weekend in the Dude going against the Mississippi State team that was like 10-7 at the time or something. They'd gotten swept by Austin Peay. And then, ever since that moment, both those two teams have gone completely opposite directions as State continues to rise and LSU continued to fall. So it's an interesting question, but I think the answer is very clearly baseball. Jake, what's up, man? How you doing this morning?
Hello. What's going on? Y'all talked to LSU baseball already?
Yeah. Did an hour on the microcosm of the entire season that was this weekend in Alabama, where you're better than you're arguably better than what the results showed, but in the end, critical mistakes combined with a critical inability to make the big play end up sinking you.
It's not shocking that that's the story. It's been the story all season long. We've talked about, less than 2 outs, runner on third, get him in, and that situation, T, has popped up so many times, and you've not been able to thrive in that situation, and it gets you again yesterday. You've got what you want, and you actually like having Larson at the plate. It's one of the guys you'd want at the plate.
Yeah.
Strikes out, and then you have Milam come in and puts a good swing on it, goes the other way, goes with the pitch, and it just right to someone. And so you're not able to come up with that big hit. But like the first game, and I know y'all have already done a deep dive, but the first game and the way you lost that game, that's like 3 of those already this year.
Yeah.
That you've kind of lost games like that. And, the Florida, the pass ball, and then they come back and, having Vanderbilt on the ropes. Because
you mentioned the kicked ball against Arkansas that led to that loss in the ninth.
The Arkansas series for sure, but certainly like the Vanderbilt, the Florida, and now this Alabama one, it's like you pretty much had the dub in the win column already, and then you didn't. Like that's 3 wins. Let's just say you get 2 of those. Just 2 of the 3 that you absolutely should have had. Like we won't even talk about having leads in the Arkansas series, different series throughout, whatever. Missouri, second game of the series, your ace doesn't pitch like an ace for really the only time this year, all those things. But if you just get 2 of those, I mean, completely different situation. What are you sitting there at 12 wins, and then you have Ole Miss for 3 games, hoping you can get 2 of 3, and then you get to 14, and then you're in.
Yeah. I mean, no, again, it's a season defined by missed opportunity and blown opportunity. I think the most interesting thing to come out of a very wide-ranging hour one conversation, and this was not in my pre-show notes. This kind of came about through us in chat just talking out organically, is what I can't make sense of is the young cats actually ended up being the strongest portions of this team.
Yeah.
It was the old heads that become the disappointments. You had a couple take steps forward. Who do we give that to? Obviously Christian Little, but who else?
Little, Harry.
Bear Jones,
Harry.
Harry.
Bear Jones is a sophomore, but
but still a returning starter. But your best players end up being like Milam and Larson and
Gage Jump
and Gage
new
Jump.
to LSU.
And so it's like, what went so wrong with Travinsky, Milazzo? I mean, all 3 catchers, right? You thought catcher was a strength, and it ended up being a weakness, even though you have so many players there. But like Thatcher Hurd, like the list goes on and on. What has gone so? And Tommy White's been good as well. Tommy White's been fine. He's in the good category, but I just wonder what happened to these upperclassmen, to the older guys, the guys you thought you could rely on, that caused them all to take kind of steps back.
It's a fair question. The catching situation, Travinsky's probably been the best, obviously, and he hadn't caught a lot. He's been mostly a DH. But he's had times.
And he's won for his
bat.
last 21 at the plate, too.
He's had times, though, with the bat. I mean, you look at Brady Neal, that's one of the more disappointing ones, probably, offensively and defensively.
Paxton Kling probably had the most disappointing.
That kind of goes without saying, and I'm not trying to throw shade at him, but and look, you said if we went back and we listened to our preseason stuff, like I don't know that we'd have like a crazy take, but we're probably like, oh, he'll take steps. He's got this talent. He's a top 150 guy. Well,
no, Paxton Kling was playing really well pre-conference. He was Jay Johns. Remember, there was one week and we were talking to Coach Jay, and we had the conversation of, he said, I feel like we're seeing the next LSU great start to emerge here, and that's how it felt. And then it just never. He got knocked down during SEC play and just never found his way off the mat.
So, like, that's somebody that Jay Johnson's counting on to be their everyday center fielder, to bat leadoff, right? And not only does he not perform, like, he actually becomes a deficiency for you, right? And so that's where that's the table setter, and that's where you're starting out. And then you weren't getting enough people on base for Tommy White, and so then you try to move Tommy White all over the lineup just to try to get him as many at bats in big moments. And even that didn't help. Now, shout out to Bear Jones, because Bear Jones was really the only protection all season long consistently. Like I said, I think Travinsky, certainly with the home run numbers, the average isn't what Neal's and the Paxton Kling and those guys, but like you're looking for protection and you're looking for opportunities for Tommy White, and you try to move the lineup pieces anywhere you can. And like Mac Bingham, somebody that was all conference in the Pac-12, and there was moments like, okay, Mac Bingham can play in the SEC. And then now, like, he's a pinch hitter who pops up to, was it the first baseman in foul territory in a big moment.
Yeah. And then, I mean, look at Thatcher Hurd, supposed to be your Friday night starter. And then now can't even get time on a weekend in which you go deep in your bullpen trying to do anything that you can.
You brought guys back from Friday night on Sunday instead of going to Thatcher Hurd.
So it's that is one of the great mysteries. And then I would say the other thing that arose in hour number one that kind of really depressing to think about. Nookie made a great point. Make no mistake, the arms have been really bad on Sunday, obviously, right? You've been run ruled 4 of your 8 losses. You're 1-8 on Sunday. But you've only averaged 3.9 runs on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's insane. And by the way, as Nookie pointed out, again, give him credit, a max of 6. You never had, even in the one win, it's not like you had an especially big game. You scored 6. Everybody else has put up these crazy, crooked 12, 14, 13 numbers at least once on Sunday. You never did, and that is kind of unfathomable considering some of the work that you've done on Fridays and Saturdays. You have a lineup that is capable of being better on that last day. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people pointing towards like the body language of this team, and they just felt resigned at times. I don't know what it is, but it is shocking to sit here going into the final series and realize that the max you've scored on a Sunday is 6, and your average is 3.9 when their staffs, the opponents, are supposed to be at their worst.
And oftentimes, you're right, you go against the third starter from the other team. Now, Vanderbilt, I think, was the one series they actually threw their 1 on day 3. But outside of that, you're supposed to be going against – and how many times have we listened to the broadcast in game number 3 of an LSU series, and the announcer, certainly on the road when they're they're a home crowd announcing team, and they're like, oh man, this guy hadn't been going good at all, but today it's a different guy. It's like, no, I don't know if it's him.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that it's Hess. I'm not sure that it's him. I think it's a combination of a couple things. It feels like every time you watch the game 3, it's like, man, this guy's really been struggling, and today he looks like the ace. Well, there's a reason.
It's wild to me too, because that's Coach Johnson's specialty is game planning opposing pitchers and deciding the approach of the plate that you're going to take for that day, and it's something that he's just excelled at his entire career. So I don't quite know. It's impossible outside looking in to fully discern what has gone so wrong in the process. That for whatever reason the game plans and or the execution of the plans on Sunday has just been consistently not good. Bilbo says 75 minutes and not a single mention of an actual LSU championship team that won this weekend. That is fair. We have it in winners, but we should say it as well. Shout out the LSU women's track and field team capturing their first track and field SEC championship or the outdoor track and field championship. First time since 2012. Their 14th time in program history. Shout out to them. We'll get to that more on later. All right, though, Jake, we've talked so much baseball. Give me your final baseball thoughts, and then we can and then we can move on and get to some of these other topics.
Yeah, I think it's just now you've put yourself in the worst case scenario. Like you have to sweep a team that's actually playing pretty well right now. And you've got to sweep in the SEC, which it doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter how good, how bad, how whatever. That's just incredibly tough to do. Home, away, does not matter. But now you've kind of put yourself in this impossible situation. Can it be done? Sure. Is it likely? It's not. It's just not. Like not in the SEC, not against a team that's also fighting for their postseason life.
Yeah.
So, again, here we are, bare minimum, got to take 2 of 3. Then you got to go to Hoover and do something, pretty special there. But remember, like the arms that you're going to have available in Hoover aren't going to be your top arms more than likely, right? They're going to pitch in the Ole Miss series. Like, how can you get guys back on the mound? Like, what are you going to do when you get to Hoover? Like, you hope you get a good draw, and maybe, just maybe, that one win in Hoover can get you over the hump. Because you've beaten some really good teams, but the resume right now, you got to do just the most that you possibly can, no room for error type situation, which is not a good place to be in.
No, and they get to a Miss team that's won back-to-back series, including just taking one off of A&M, which it does. At least it's kind of funny watching A&M fail. They have the number 1 ranking, and then they drop series to LSU and Ole Miss, two of the worst teams in the SEC. And maybe a glint of a silver lining. I believe now Mizzou would have to sweep and LSU would have to get swept to miss Hoover. So like at least you're
because you have the tiebreaker.
You should make it to the SEC tournament. But even the fact that we're talking about that kind of shows you just how awry it is all gone here. All right. Anything else to add? Final thoughts on baseball, boys. Anything else before we move on from baseball for now? Good to go? All right. Sounds good. When we get back, let's talk a little New Orleans Saints, a little LSU football. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Get Gordon and get it done. 225-888-8888. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, 888-8888. Look, man, you get in an accident, you need somebody who's going to stand up to big insurance companies for you and get you what you deserve. Get Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, okay? They can handle a plethora of cases. And, as always, follow them on social media at Get Gordon. Check out some of the content they have with some of your favorite athletes, the members of the G Team. Get Gordon and get it done today.
Yeah, go to the website that T-Bob gave you, getgordon.com, and you can literally do it all there. You can ask a question right now. You can get answered right now. You can get a consultation, a free consultation set up on the website, past client results, cases they can handle for you in the courtroom, all right there at your fingertips, getgordon.com. T-Bob gave you the handle, all major social media at Get Gordon. Don't forget, though, wherever you're listening to us in Louisiana, put your area code followed by 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Brack teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because
Join me for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, reacting to LSU and Alabama from Tuscaloosa and Paul Skeen's Major League debut. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome back. OTB, T-Bob, Jake, and Taylor hanging out with you today. Chris Little says, Sunday baseball is very comparable to LSU defense. Opposing pitchers having career outings every week. I think that's fair. So let's update LSU defense's quest for some personnel answers. Javier Suggs, the Grand Valley State defensive tackle, got to Baton Rouge yesterday. He is staying till tomorrow, and he has now updated the list of schools that he is looking at as LSU, Michigan, Kentucky, and Wisconsin. LSU is also told on 3 that they are no longer pursuing Aiden Huntington from ULM. Of course, there have been some talk. Is he an end? Is he a tackle? Huntington going to choose between Tulane and Cal. And then, Taylor, help me out here. Tennessee has a transfer defensive back, Wesley Walker. He's visiting LSU. His stepbrother, Tyler Barone, also in the portal. He's a defensive lineman.
Yeah, also from Tennessee.
What's the word here?
So they're obviously after the DB Walker, but a lot of people are like, hey, they entered the portal around the same time. Could they be going to the same school? So it could be one of those things where they're like, hey, let's bring in the DB. We need a veteran present in that room and see if we can land both of them.
So no great news to get to there. Just LSU still trying to add to this roster a bit. I want to remind you, if you want to ignite your career, explore what the MMR Group can offer you. MMR has been the nation's largest privately owned electrical and instrumentation contractor for decades now. They have offices all over the globe, but they're headquartered right here in Baton Rouge. And so if things like outstanding benefits, if things like incredible career opportunities, if these sound, and a dynamic culture, if these sound attractive to you, well, explore it by going to mmrgrp.com. And they have a variety of positions for you. Okay, I don't care if you're like a college student and you're just looking for internship or trying to kind of find your way. You know, how can I find what I want to do in this life? How can I find a career? Well, MMR's got you. But what if you've already been in this game? You're a seasoned pro. You're just starting out. Again, no matter what, I want you to apply now at mmrgrp.com. See what they can offer you. Go all around the world, potentially. mmrgrp.com. Pierce Lee says, disappointing as this season may be thus far, I'd still rather talk LSU baseball over LSU defensive tackle search or Saints football. Well, how about some Saints football? as the New Orleans Saints officially signing Lucas Patrick to a 1-year deal. I kind of like this signing, Jake. This is a former UDFA for the Green Bay Packers, an interior offensive lineman. Spent 7 seasons, the last 7 seasons, with the Packers and Bears. Last year, actually started 15 games for Chicago. They had some injuries. He started 15 games in 953 snaps, 25 hurries, 2 quarterback hits, no sacks. Again, you don't sign a guy like this thinking he's going to be like, awesome. He's just going to be your cure-all. But you get a cat who, again, started 15 games last year, didn't give up a sack. And if you look at his career, Nick Underhill's broken down the snaps by position. He's got nearly 2,000 starts He's got nearly 2,000 snaps at center, 1,200 at right guard, about 630 at left guard, a couple at left tackle. So that's neither here nor there. But this feels like on a Saints team that has a lot of playing time up for grabs in the interior, probably especially at left guard. This feels like a guy in Lucas Patrick who doesn't just give you depth help, though he can be that swing man if anybody goes down, but also could work his way into being a starter.
You have open spaces for a guy like this too.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a situation where it's a fix-all. It's not going to be the long-term answer, but the Saints probably looked at how they drafted and where they ended up on free agency and kind of look at their roster and say, hey, we need to bring somebody else in to compete because we don't know what Ryan Ramczyk is going to be. We don't know where our first-round pick is going to live. We don't know if Trevor Penning's going to step up. We don't know if we're going to need Landon Young at tackle or guard. I mean, there's a lot of questions there. And so you go get a player that has started multiple times for multiple teams and can handle a situation where he's thrown in there to something that's, it's new to him. Like, he's not a rookie. He is not a first-year player. He's not a second-year player. Like, he has been through the fire. And so they know they can add him to the starting lineup. And, again, you're not going to get elite play, but you're going to get probably something that can solidify, a first-round tackle, an Eric McCoy next to him. Hopefully Cesar Ruiz plays a little bit better. Then you got to figure out right tackle if Ramczyk's not ready to go. But, I mean, you have open spaces, and a guy like this can fill that. We kind of did this in Denver the year I was there. There was a bunch of us that were kind of there on 1 or 2 year deals, and it was Jim Leonard, and it was myself. It was Dan Copen at center, who had played a long time for the Patriots. Now, Dan Copen's career was better than just average. I mean, he had a really good career, but he's on the backside of it. We had Keith Brooking. I mean, we signed a bunch of veteran guys on 1 year deals to try to plug a little bit here. Now, some of us were starters. Some of us were just depth pieces. And some of us were there in case of emergency. But it's what we did in Denver, and they had a really nice draft that year. The rookies played as well, and it can work. It's not a long-term solution, but it can work for 1 year, 1 run.
Yeah, and look, it's not any great overcommitment. I think this is an upgrade. That's the only thing, right? Yeah. Is that, anytime you sign someone, you want to feel like, okay, does this bring value? And I'm not going to make too much of it, but I do think he brings value. At rookie mini camp this weekend, Talisi Fuaga was repping a little left tackle. And it was interesting to hear him kind of talk about after the practice because basically everybody's really upfront with it. The Saints leadership was just like, we just want to see, can he play left tackle? Mm-hmm. And Fuaga himself basically said, yeah, look, I mean, I'm just a little rusty. He talked about cross-training there during the pre-draft process, but that he's never had game reps over there. We kind of had the conversation the other day of do you even try him at left if they're just going to try to rush their best pass rusher against your weakest tackle no matter what? But yeah, the Saints basically just saying, can he play left? And maybe that doesn't even mean that you keep him at left, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it just means, we feel comfortable with him being an emergency option there. Only time will tell and how he does. But for what it's worth, at rookie minicamp, Fuaga's starting on the left side of that line.
It's rookie minicamp, and so you don't have a lot of bodies out there. Now, sometimes, even though it's rookie minicamp, I went to rookie minicamp.
Yeah, you have a few uppers normally show up.
I went to rookie minicamp going into year 7.
No pinning there, though.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, which I'm a bit surprised about.
I'm a little bit surprised because why are you not there? You hadn't got a lot of reps.
I agree. I'm a bit surprised that the Saints aren't forcing him there. I don't know how Trevor Penning is comfortable enough to not think that maybe some of those, maybe it's because he's a first-round pick. Because generally the older guys who have to go to rookie minicamp are
somebody like me who I signed a deal. It was kind of like hey, do you still got it? And if you do, we'll offer you a contract.
Yeah.
or it's guys that have been practice squad
UDFA,
guys.
P squad guy, yes.
Yeah, it's very rarely will you get a veteran player. I'm trying to think who.
It just feels weird that, I mean, still, given how poorly Penning's career has gone thus far, it seems like he would have been a perfect, a perfect candidate for a little rookie minicamp.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, he could gain some confidence from something like that too. Maybe being like he feels like he's a little bit of an older head and he can go out there and have some success in a rookie minicamp. He hasn't played enough for me not to go. And I know, he is a first-round pick, but I would certainly have him out there. And if the plan is to try him at left tackle, why would I not want to get a look at him at left tackle and Fuaga at right tackle? Now, you could say, well, they're counting on him so much they didn't want him to get hurt in rookie minicamp. Rookie minicamp is very pedestrian. I mean, you don't ever have pads on, obviously. You never put pants on. It is spider pads, jerseys, helmets, shorts.
Which, again, does make it kind of hard to evaluate offensive linemen anyway, so only time will tell. It was just interesting to hear Fuaga basically talk about how he was kind of struggling to verbalize why it's so much tougher, or why it's different, like just switching from right to left, saying that like offensive linemen get it. And outside looking at it, I don't think it's super hard to understand, right? You're basically flipping everything, whereas if you're so used to pass setting with your right leg kickback, then all of a sudden you're doing it with your left. Like at a certain point, that became muscle memory for him at the right tackle position, whereas he's still now having to commit some mental resources to his technique that he didn't have to on the other side. So look, let's not go too over the top of this. It's rookie minicamp. Just know they're starting Fuaga at left tackle right now. And just know that in the signing of, why am I blanking on his name? Lucas Patrick. In the signing of Lucas Patrick, I think the Saints got a nice interior option, maybe a frontline guy, definitely a swing guy that can play all three in the interior. So you got a little better on the offensive line there. All right, when we get back, let's get a tailor-made NFL story of the day. Keep it locked right here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge.com, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. You go to All-Star Toyota today. They're located off of Airline in Goodwood. Very easy, conveniently located, okay? If you need to buy new Toyota certified used vehicle where you're still getting a great deal, maybe you want to rent, maybe you want to lease, okay? It's all there for you. Or they can custom order your vehicle if it's not right there on the site already. And remember, all makes and models welcome at the All-Star Toyota Service Center. And you get $100 towards the deductible when you mention OTB. So go to All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
Yeah, when you go to the website, you'll see what T-Bob's telling you about buying new, leasing, renting. Everything is available. That's always important to point out because you're not going to get that anywhere else. Everything when you're talking about leasing, well, they've got it there. But the rental department, like the fact that you can get any vehicle they offer, I mean, you're literally not going to find that anywhere else. Go check it out on their website, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU, Alabama, and baseball. David DeLucci will be here, and our takeaways from Saints rookie minicamp, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What up, y'all? Welcome back, OTB. Ryan Brack says, more LSU baseball games shortens the time before football season, gives me something to watch during a dead summer period. Get hot in Hoover, and who knows? Just give me something to cheer for.
I'm with you.
Yeah, tier list season about to be in full effect, boys. It's okay. We basically missed all of tier list season last year. So this is how you justify it, dude. I mean, look, it's the yin and the yang of the sporting, sporting world. It giveth and taketh away. Emil says tier list seasons when OTB goes full Skip Bayless. Not true. Not true. Okay, not true. I mean, legitimately, this Friday, we could do one this Friday if we really wanted to. But I figure we'll be recapping Ole Miss game 1. Probably looking forward to get Ole Miss game 2. So we'll see.
Maybe they can find a way to get it in there.
Maybe an hour 3, for sure.
Gosh, yeah, I was talking about this yesterday. I was sitting there and I was looking at Harlow, and I'm like, why can't we just go back to when you were born and Tommy Tanks was hitting walk-off home runs against Wake Forest?
That was awesome.
It was awesome. It was great. It was a summer that never would end in a good way.
Everything costs,
That's what I told Harlow. I was like, I guess, you being born, the moment he hit it, that was it.
Full Metal Alchemist. It's the law of equivalent exchange. You want to go on that legendary run to win a national championship against all odds, you don't make the postseason the next year, which is becoming all too consistent of a thing now in college baseball. They got to figure it out. I don't know what the hell's going on. Emil says, what are the Saints going to do with Alvin Kamara? Is the plan for Kendre Miller to see an uptick in usage?
He's got to stay healthy, 1. He's got to be a more complete back, 2. Kendre Miller's a good player. I think he can give you something. I don't know that Kendre Miller's going to be your RB1. And you still have Jamal Williams as well, who played better the latter portion of the year. But behind that offensive line, unless you got Barry Sanders back there, I'm not sure they're going to be as successful as you want them to be.
To be clear, Kubiak, that was one of the big things that he talked about on Saturday was he is being very upfront that everything in his offense works off of running the ball. And that if they cannot run the ball effectively, that they are dead in the water. So I think that starts with Alvin Kamara, and you hope to get you'll never get fully this, but you hope to get some, CMC-like resurgence out of Kamara. And then Kendre Miller's young. Isn't Kendre Miller still like only 21 years old, I believe, right now? So, like, there's room to grow for him, certainly. Jamal Williams still feels like, I don't know how he fits on the roster with Taysom Hill. It just doesn't seem like there's enough carries to go around. Like, that kind of feels like really weird in retrospect, using the benefit of hindsight. But, yeah, I think the plan for Kamara would be to fully lean into Kamara, right? And this kind of be the last, like, okay, let's see, can he be that guy? How much does he actually have left before maybe we think, okay, maybe we move him and try to get some resources or something along those lines?
Yeah, Kendre Miller doesn't turn 22 until June the 11th.
Damn.
Yeah, so he is a very young player to, have played as much in college at TCU. With Jamal Williams, I don't think he's washed or anything, but I'm just not sure how he fits into if the scheme's going to be what it was in San Francisco. Like, think about what San Francisco had. They didn't really have a runner like a Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Right? Jamal Williams is a downhill, north and south, break tackles, goal line type of runner. They didn't really have that. I mean, even their backup running backs in San Francisco were still guys that were going to be outside zone guys, get to the edge type guys, home run speed kind of guys. So I'm not really sure where he fits in the equation there. Like, even
not with Taysom, because Taysom feels like maybe your best short.
Yes, and then like they drafted Ty Davis Price at LSU in the 3rd round, and he's more of that straight line north south kind of guy, and he hasn't really been used. Yeah. So I don't know if they had the intention of trying to get more of that, but they never really gave themselves over to that. Now CMC fixes a lot of problems, and you don't have to, but it's just not really within the offense. At least what we've seen over the last couple of years.
Taylor, give us your tailor-made NFL story of the day.
All right, so this one actually involves Jake, and unfortunately, this is one of the negative headlines that you hate to hit. A.J. Smith, former Chargers GM, he passed away yesterday at the age of 75. So he was the GM for the Chargers in 2003 to 2012. Right when Jake was there. He's the winningest GM in franchise history. The Chargers won 98 games in his 10 years at GM. So they averaged almost 10 wins a year since he's been there. And I mean, that's a franchise that's struggled in recent years, but 98 wins over the 10 seasons that he's been there. He was battling prostate cancer the past 7 years. His son, Kyle Smith, actually the Atlanta Falcons assistant GM right now, but yeah, the Chargers put out, a big statement. They memorialized him and everything, but I did not realize that they had won 98 games in his 10 years in that role as GM, and I figured, I was like, this is a perfect one for you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to bring it up a little bit later on because of what A.J. Smith did in my life.
Yeah.
Like, A.J. Smith was my biggest fan with the Chargers. That's why they traded up and drafted me in the 3rd round. Always believed in me. And when he took the Chargers over, like, they were a bad team. That was like a year removed from 1-15.
Damn.
Right? So he takes them over, and to get the amount of wins that he did in that time, taking over that bad situation, and he made the trade, Eli Manning, that ended up being Phillip Rivers, Sean Merriman, Nick Hardwick, Nate Kading. Now, Eli Manning went and won 2 Super Bowls. I get that. But you're talking about 4 guys that made at least 2 Pro Bowls that he got back in favor of Eli Manning. And so it wasn't that trade that didn't win Super Bowls for San Diego. And look, AJ was like old school. He was no nonsense kind of guy. Told you exactly how it was, and I always appreciate that. That's what I grew up with. And gosh, just hated to hear the news. I knew when I went to Nor's party last year for his retirement, I didn't know that AJ was going through that. I kind of asked, "Hey, AJ going to be here?" And they're like, "Man, he's not doing great." So he fought for that was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, they didn't know how much longer AJ was going to be able to fight. But that's just kind of who AJ Smith was, and I'll forever be grateful to AJ Smith for believing in me, again, drafting me, changing my life, and somebody that I'll always appreciate his style too. It wasn't for everybody, but it was for me, and I appreciated AJ Smith and what he did for me. So, man, I hated to hear the news, and rest in peace to my guy AJ Smith.
That's pretty insane. So one Eli Manning turns into 4 players that made at least 2 Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
Like, that's a certified dub of a trade in an awful situation.
One in Phillip, borderline Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And then Sean Merriman, obviously, at one time was one of the most feared defensive players in the NFL. Nick Hardwick made multiple Pro Bowls and now is the offensive line coach for the Chargers.
Oh, wow.
And Nate Kading, at one moment or another, was one of the best kickers in the NFL.
Damn.
So, I mean, it was a good trade for both teams, obviously. Now, because, I mean, the Giants would, take 2 Super Bowls for sure.
The Brady killer.
Oh, looked like when I was researching this guy, Jake, I'm looking at him like he hired Norv Turner in 2007 to turn around that. Like every modern day amount of success with the Chargers is like because of AJ Smith.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned all the players. T-Bob, you'll love this. He was in the NFL for 35 years. He started as a part-time scout with the Chargers, rose all the way up to general manager.
Wow. And then led him to their most successful tenure ever in history. So rest in peace to AJ Smith, and thoughts and prayers with his friends, his family, and all those who loved him. That's it. That was a nice story of the day, Taylor. Good job. Proud of you.
It was gonna be Caleb Williams was named QB1, but is anybody really surprised?
No.
Their
Not
quarterback
anymore.
room is
No.
Tyson Bagent and Austin Reed.
Yeah, and nowadays that's just
15 years ago that'd have been big news. But
Oh,
now
they were
it's
talking about it
probably
on
10
like
years ago,
national
maybe.
shows when I'm driving in this morning. They're like, breaking news.
Well, there maybe is a bit of meat to chew on there. So let's do this. Let's go to break. When we get back, I don't know that we'll spend more than like a minute on that, but there's just one angle that I want to consider. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Trash Rangers. You want local waste management, okay? And you're seeing the reviews just shoot up the more and more we talk about Trash Rangers, and it's because more and more people are making the switch, which means more and more satisfied customers because they actually give a damn. Imagine that. It's that simple. You live in Livingston or Citrus Parish, you need somebody that you can rely on that's efficient. You need somebody that's going to send you texts ahead of time the night before they come out so you never forget how to put out your trash can again. You see the red cans popping up all around your neighborhood? That's Trash Rangers. Go to trashsignup.com, and in just 3 minutes, you select your number of cans, you see your days, the price, and unlike these national companies, okay, these national companies take the profits out of Louisiana to keep the trash here. No, the profits stay right here in the community, teams, churches. Trash Rangers, LLC.com.
Yeah, go to trashrangersllc.com. That website that T-Bob gave you. You can also sign up there. You can pay your bill there. You can find all the information. Remember those roll-off dumpsters, that's not just a certain area. We're talking to all of our listeners. So if you need one of those, you own a business, you need a dumpster, they are the place to go. Go to the website today, trashrangersllc.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com Or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
Hannigre, join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch from Walk-Ons in Brewley. Take a look back at LSU's series with Alabama. Where did softball end up in a huge weekend in the NBA playoffs? Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Take me down off your pedestal. I've got a name. I've got a name. Lovers do what the lovers do. I do the same.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
We'll get us some Pauly Skeens coming up in weekend winners. Number one overall pick in baseball, but we're talking about the number one overall pick in football in Caleb Williams, named the starter, which, again, no surprise there. That is par for the course nowadays. Like, I fully expect Jaden Daniels to be the starter in Washington probably from day one as well. I guess the only thing that I wanted to bring up is it is pretty wild, even for someone who's been through maybe a little bit of this. It was pretty wild watching the videos from like Dan Orlovsky and Chase Daniel and others with them going through those NFL playbooks and what these rookie quarterbacks are going to be expected to know.
I forgot to bring in a playbook that I was going to bring in today. It's on my couch in my office because I wanted to also show how different college is as well, because I got Jimbo Fisher's old LSU playbook, and I was going back, and it was funny. EJ and I were doing radio together. EJ played for Jimbo at Florida State. Yep. And I was calling out a play, and EJ was finishing before I could get there. Like, he knew it so well. But it was like a complex playbook for college football.
I'm about to say, Jimbo was always known, too, for, being one of the more complicated college OCs.
Difficult for college.
Yeah.
Now kind of looking back on it. But, it's a great illustration of kind of what it is and what you go through. Now, everybody learns different. Everybody's got different processing speeds and different things and different ways that they learn it. But
actually, Taylor, can you give me some of the Chase Daniel where he's like doing some of the Saints play calls? Sorry, I just wanted to get him working on that.
But that's why I wanted to bring it in. I wanted to give some play calls and just like break it down. Like there's, this, and this. And it's like the play I always go to Jack Wright, Scott Wright, 99 stop F cross M, and like really break it down and like what all of that means and who that's talking to, because like when you break it down, you're just listening for like your buzzwords for your position and different things. And so,
but that's the crazy part about being one of these rookie quarterbacks is they have to know it all, right? Like I hear Jack Wright, Scat Wright, and as an O-lineman, after that, my brain's turning off. Right? Because that's my formation. I know where the strength is, and that's my protection.
No
right?
doubt. Like, you really don't even have to know the formation.
Especially as a rookie.
If you're an interior guy.
Sure. I just want to know where the strength is. Yeah. Right? So that's all I'm looking for there. Yes, exactly. I don't really care about the Jack part of it, but even as much. But like,
you're listening for scat.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I care about. And then I'm going to go. But these rookie quarterbacks, they have to know what every single one of those elements means.
Chris Sims, John Gruden, repeat the play. Like, give it to me again. He just vomits out of his mouth.
Do you have him when he's calling a play? I don't want it from the very beginning. Have you scripted that? Yeah.
We can get that. I mean, we got an hour left.
Yeah. Just find it where he's like going through some of the play calls, because it does get.
I mean, also the Chris Sims one is good, like to kind of back it up with. I mean, I know we've played that before. I haven't seen the Sims one actually. I'm trying. It's like John Gruden's trying to give him a play call. He's a rookie minicamp, and he's like, "Hey, here's a play. Call it." And Chris Sims messes up 6 times. He never gets it, and this breaks the huddle.
So how do you then get a rookie quarterback ready to play?
I mean,
do they just have to be able to learn it?
Okay, how long we got? Okay, we got time. So when I was in Denver, Brock Osweiler was a rookie.
Yeah,
and he was our 2.
Tall drink of water.
And we used to have to, like, Noshawn and I would have to kind of stay with him for a little bit and go over like play calls. Like, he would spit it out and we'd help him and like just different things. So typically a veteran player will try to stay and kind of help him and let him just call it and let him know if he's saying it right and different things. I'm trying to think, because I was never with another rookie quarterback. So, I mean, I'm assuming that's how it goes. Because when I got to San Diego, we had Billy Bullock and Charlie Whitehurst. They were both veteran players.
Surely you got to try to dumb it down somewhat, though, for like a Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels or something.
Maybe that they're going to be the face of the franchise now. Maybe.
Because you have no choice. It's not like they earn the starting job. Like, you have to start them.
But the last thing that you want to do in the NFL is be stuck out there and feel like you're handcuffed. Because you want everything available, and your veteran players already, if you have the same coordinator, they already have their system. They know the buzzwords. They know. So you might change some things, but you don't want to take away from the rest of your offense just because of this rookie quarterback, and that's the challenge.
Well, we'll see how they end up navigating this challenge. Here's to prove what we're talking about as well. But coming up next, let's do a little weekend winners. That's right, another full weekend in the books. Who had the best weekend? Who had the worst weekend? Put yours in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, youtube.com/1045 ESPN, and we'll get to it next hour here on OTB. No Devin Snow today. Guys, Dev's busy this morning, pushed back to Wednesday, so we'll catch up with him in a little bit. All right, hour 2 of the books, hour 3 coming up next.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to Accutemp of Baton Rouge, AccutempBR.com, AccutempBR.com. For your AC, heat, and electrical needs, you want to go to Accutemp, where you can take control of your comfort zone. You want that service to the highest degree. Look, obviously, that's a great AC pun, right? But it's not just a pun. It is at the core of everything they do. You could call it their mission statement, their core ethos, their motivation. And well, if you go look at the reviews, even though there's thousands of them, they still have a 4.9 on Google. That's because their customers are consistently satisfied. Accutemp Baton Rouge, AccutempBR.com.
And like we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, I mean, now is that time. The heat's not going anywhere. We know that. It's here to stay, so make sure your unit is working at its peak performance. They'll come in, they'll check it. And also, if you already know you have an issue, schedule that appointment today online at AccutempBR.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience.
They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes LUBA a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on Monday, May 13th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect rainy skies with a high of 84 in hour 3 of today's show. We'll have weekend winners at 9 a.m. We'll talk to New Orleans Pelicans and Brandon Ingram about a possible contract extension. And then, as we do every day, we will close out the show with some Ask the Bench. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch them in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN. And watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let we go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what up, y'all? Hour 2 in the books. Hour 3 coming up now. And let's start off everything like we do every single week with a little weekend winners.
That's how winning is done. That's right. We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've got too far.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what?
Are you doing what it takes to win a championship?
Wow, winning.
Well, then I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
Win the whole thing.
What's going on, y'all? My first weekend winner, LSU softball. Lady Tigers get the 9 seed and will host a regional. That's right, this weekend coming up at Tiger Park. They'll play host to the 4 seed, Jackson State, who they will play 5 p.m. at Friday. While the number 3 seed in Southern Illinois will play the 2 seed Cal at 2:30. Again, this team finishes number 3 in the RPI. 9 overall seed, so barely missing out, Jake, on being a potential super host. But for the second year in a row, I guess you could say this is a weekend winner as well. Second year in a row here, guys. The SEC gets all 13 teams in the tournament. Also, shout out to UL, who are also hosting a regional. Great accomplishment there. And then Louisiana softball, not to be denied.
Yep.
Shout out to Southeastern, who's making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance in Tuscaloosa. So a very good selection Sunday for Louisiana softball in general.
So Southeastern, I think, is a 3 seed in Tuscaloosa, right? Is that correct, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm not sure.
So shout out to the Lions. Yeah, look, Louisiana Lafayette, we know that they're a really good softball program. I think they split the series with LSU this year. I think each home team maybe won the game,
was 1-1.
right? Yeah. But LSU, I mean, you fall just short there. But also, like, you go against a Stanford team if you advance, where you're going to have some advantages as well. Stanford is better at pitching than they are hitting, and so that plays into kind of what you are right now as well. So, LSU certainly has as good of a chance as anybody at making a run. You just beat Tennessee. In fact, you've beaten, gosh, what was the other day when I looked? Like the number 1, 2, 4, and 6 teams in the country, you've beaten them at least once this year.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, look, you had the 24-0 start. You had that. You're number 3 RPI. Yeah, like, you are battle-tested. But ultimately, you know how this goes, Jake. Everything's just determined now.
Yep.
In the postseason.
Yep.
So what can they do?
All 13 teams, man. I know it happened
2 years in a row
before, but gosh, just wild. Vanderbilt, by the way, what are we doing? Play softball. What are we doing?
They only care about the Vandy boys.
Gosh, play softball.
Not the Vandy
What are you
girls.
doing? And by the way, Texas and Oklahoma going into the league. My God, this league next year is going to go 15 for 15 probably. Just think about that.
Yeah. I mean, if that's mathematically possible, yes.
It will be.
Like, if
They'll
you can
find a
all
way.
make the tournament without, like, eliminating each other along the way, then yes, absolutely.
Weekend winner, Great Asaburo, who is a former player at Utah State. We're talking college basketball here. He was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. Well, what does he do? He puts his name in the transfer portal. You know, Conference Player of the Year. You want to go see if you can get a good NIL deal. Well, apparently he has chosen Washington, and apparently he has a NIL deal of $1.8 million for 1 year. $1.8 million.
What position?
He is a guard. He's a guard. He is it's kind of a wing, but more of a guard. I would say he's probably a 3. You know, basketball. He played a little bit of 2 last year.
Washington basketball is playing 1.8. Is Washington basketball good?
No.
No.
No, they were not. They were not.
How?
6'7", 240 pounds. Like I said, he'll probably play more of, I think for Washington, the Big Ten, he'd be more of a 3 than he would be a 4.
Yeah, probably.
Utah State, obviously, that's a different conference. But, yeah, $1.8 million. His name's Great. His first name is Great. So he's already got, expectations to live up to. So it looked like initially it was going to be Kentucky, but Washington in the 11th hour, they outbid Texas Tech, Louisville, and Kentucky.
All right, my first weekend winner is nepotism.
Yeah.
Bronny James is remaining in the NBA draft. He averaged 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, shot 28% from 3. In his freshman season with USC, they went 14-17, and their coach left. But Bronny James, going to the NBA draft, will probably be drafted by the Lakers and will be the worst player in the NBA by far on any bench. And he will be there because his dad is LeBron James.
I thought that I saw him in an Ohio State jersey over the weekend.
So what he did was he entered the portal and the NBA draft.
Okay, now he's chosen to stay in the draft.
Yeah, he was getting feelers in the portal to see if somebody pick him up, but now he's staying in the draft.
Look, from one Nepo baby to another. Go get it, Bronny. Prove the haters wrong. Okay, do your thing, dude. It'd be kind of crazy to be on a professional team with your father, for sure. I mean, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing's crazier than King Griffey Jr. and King Griffey Sr. going back-to-back home
because,
runs.
I mean, both of them earned the right to be there.
Yeah. Hey. Coaches like bloodlines. Okay? What if Bronny's the next LeBron? You never know.
LeBron was pretty good in high school.
Yeah, he turned.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Bronny was pretty good in high school.
Not nearly the
he was
prospect
probably
that
the 4th
LeBron
best
was.
player on that Sierra Canyon team.
Well, look, LeBron wasn't any good in college.
It's true.
That's true.
You know what? Bronny actually averaged more points per game in college.
He
than
did.
LeBron
Exactly.
did,
That's
so-
true. That's very true.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, sticking with
I
basketball.
love that Taylor had a Sierra Canyon take ready to go.
Oh, of
Ready.
course.
Probably the
Locked
4th best
in.
player on Sierra Canyon.
Probably was.
What is
dude.
wrong with
Honestly,
you? Name me the 3 players better than Bronny on
so
Sierra
Zaire
Canyon.
Wade was on that team, which is
Okay.
Dwayne Wade's kid. I don't really know what happened to him. He was good in high school, never did much in college.
Where'd he go?
Do y'all remember Brandon Boston? He was at Kentucky a couple years
Not at
ago.
all.
He was on that team as well.
Okay.
And then they had a big man whose name I can't remember, and they were all pretty
You know
solid.
what? I'll be damned. I'm impressed that you got 2.
I got nothing for you. So you did
I
better
remember
than I did.
Boston Scott. I remember Aaliyah Boston. I don't remember.
Brandon Boston. He
running
played at
back,
Kentucky, I don't know, about 4 years ago maybe.
Zaire Wade is playing in the Asian Basketball League.
There you go. He's playing with Dwight Howard. I have
Dwight
no idea if
Howard's
that's the
playing in,
league that
like-
Dwight Howard plays in.
Playing for the Macau Black Bears. Macau, I don't know how you say that, but it's that Asian country.
All right.
Shut up.
All right, sticking
Shout
with
out Zaire
basketball, My weekend winner, the Denver Nuggets. Look, I mean, the Timberwolves last week, they were the talk of the town. They went in, they took both games from Denver on the road. Denver comes back, does the same thing. I mean, they have completely re-grabbed the momentum in this series. They get a 115-107 win. Now it's going back to Denver, so they got the momentum going forward. And it looked like they were dead in the water a week ago. The series
Wait,
got
hasn't
tied
this happened
2-2.
in both series? Yeah, because, I mean, same thing happened with the Pacers.
Well, the Pacers did it at home, though. They won both games at home.
Oh,
Denver did it on the road.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a little bit tougher for them.
True.
So, yeah, weekend winner, Denver Nuggets.
But both teams bouncing back and not just winning the next two, but looking dominant in the next two. And now all of a sudden the momentum has completely flipped in both those series.
Yesterday, at one point in the fourth quarter, the Pacers were up on the Knicks by 40.
Ooh. Jake, how are you feeling?
Ain't no problem.
Yeah.
Ain't no problem. The problem is, like, their bench is light. They're already out Julius Randle.
Yeah, the problem is, can you play 48 minutes a game for an entire playoffs?
I heard the stat the other day. It's shocking. They are 26-5 when OG Anunoby is in the lineup.
Yeah.
They are 13-17 without him in the lineup.
That's why that's why they traded. I mean, they traded Quickly for him. Quickly was playing really well, but they knew they needed something different defensively.
Well, they traded Quickly and Barrett. I mean, they gave up. They gave up a decent little bit for OG Anunoby.
My next weekend winner, shout out LSU women's track and field. SEC Outdoor Track and Field Champions. How about a 14-time in program history and the first time since 2012? Take a bow, ladies. Anytime you beat Arkansas in that sport, that is always a very big deal. And anytime you do something you have not done in 12 years, that is always a very big deal. So, shout out LSU women's track and field.
Did Arkansas win the men's again, right?
I got no idea.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they won it again. But shout out to the Tigers, another national championship. Actually passed by our guy Benny Brazil on the way here when I was dropping off the kids at school.
Shout out, Benny!
Weekend winner, Missouri State. They're heading to the FBS. They're going to be joining the Conference USA in 2025. Missouri State, I know them because Bobby Petrino was once their head coach a couple of years ago. Went to Arkansas and kind of put a little fear into the Razorbacks. Almost pulled off the outright upset. And probably the reason Bobby Petrino found his way back to Arkansas as a coordinator was his performance when he was at Missouri State. So shout out to Missouri State, going to be in Coosa.
Yeah, didn't they have to? I think they paid like $5 million for me. How many teams that put us up to 134?
Well, they're not joining until 25. Do we have another one join this offseason? Because I know Jacksonville State joined last year. They were also in the Conference USA.
Winners.
Oh, so Arkansas did win the men's outdoor, but another weekend winner. It's the Tulane Green Wave baseball team.
Wow,
they got a sweep. Number 6 East Carolina.
Whoa, let's go! Roll away,
Godwin.
Yeah, and in Game 3, game was tied. Bottom of the 10th inning, got a walk-off single to win the last game, get the sweep over ECU. So shout out to the Green Wave.
Projected national seed, ECU.
Yep.
What's Tulane doing overall? Do we know?
They're like a few games over 500 in the league, so they probably got to win their conference to get in. But
what a great weekend nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, remember last year, Tulane was kind of in the same position. Yep. They went and won their conference tournament and ended up in Baton Rouge.
That's true. And a closer game than they would have won.
And then they ended up, if I'm not mistaken, the championship game of the regional, correct? Weren't they? I thought I knew Paul Skeens threw against them. I thought it was the championship of the regional. That's a long time ago.
For some reason, I thought it was the first game, but I knew Skeens threw him. I know Skeens threw against him because the guy that hit a home run off Skeens ended up at the lake house that summer because he was dating one of my cousins or something or another. I can't remember the exact connective tissue there, or a cousin's friend, I believe. And it was awesome getting to talk to someone who faced down Skeens from the batter's box.
Yeah. Basically
saying that he was just absolutely terrifying. He was so tall. He took up so much of, what do they call it, the batter's eye or whatever, that it was supremely intimidating. All right. Any more winners from y'all?
So I know you guys are going to go Paul Skeens as weekend winner.
True.
I'm going to go Andrew McCutcheon. And here's why. Mark Zuckerman from Sports Illustrated was doing some research, and they were all saying, hey, Skeens is the most hyped up pitcher since Steven Strasburg 14 years ago. Well, 14 years ago, Steven Strasburg made his debut against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their leadoff hitter was Andrew McCutchen.
Wow.
When Paul Skeens made his debut for the Pirates leadoff hitter was also Andrew McCutchen. So I'm going to give a weekend winner to the career of Andrew McCutchen, the leadoff hitter against Steven Strasburg and on the same team as Paul Skeens, 14 years apart.
Weekend winner Paul Skeens goes out there, fans 7 in 4 innings of work, 84 pitches to get to those 12 outs. So not his most efficient day. Gives up 3 runs, has a couple of walks, but again, 7 Ks in the 4 innings, 17 100-mile-per-hour pitches. His fastball averages 100.1. And my Cubs fall.
Yeah, and
to pity in a close one, 10-9.
And of note, Paul Skeens left a few guys on base, and the guy that came in to relieve him walked in 4 runs in a row.
What?
Yeah. He walked in 4 runs in a row for the Cubs. Yeah, and then they had the rain delay, and then comes up losing 10-9.
And then Skeens gets those runs. Obviously, you know he had 2 guys on base, and so the 3
I did not
runs,
realize it took out those runs.
Yeah, he only gave up. I only
saw the
home
strikeout
run.
highlights.
Yeah, he gave up a solo home run, and that was it.
Damn.
And then he left 2 guys on. The guy comes in, and they both score.
But Cubbies win the series. They won yesterday, so
Good. I mean, you know, it's like I want my individual homies to have success, but
exactly.
I gotta hope my team wins.
Yep. Weekend winner, the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks get the #1 pick in the NBA draft lottery with only a 3% chance to actually win the #1 pick. Now, weekend loser as well to the Detroit Pistons, because this is back-to-back years that they've had the best odds to get the #1 pick, and they get the 5th pick. They had a 14% chance to win the draft lottery. Same thing as the Washington Wizards. They had a 14% chance, but they get the 5th pick. Washington gets the 2nd pick. So it's going to go Atlanta, Washington, Houston, San Antonio, Detroit for the 2nd year in the row. Detroit does not have the ping pong ball bounce their way.
Well, and the most first part about that is, you know that like all these front offices have like giant watch parties planned.
Oh yeah.
During this, and everybody's waiting to pop the confetti and go crazy and have the moment, and that had to be such a ice cold room to be a part of as you're just slowly falling. Even though apparently this draft sucks anyway.
Yeah,
right?
apparently this draft is terrible.
Okay, but think about this, and this is why I agree with Jake. That
some French guys in this one that have a pretty high ceiling.
What's his name? Alex something? I read about it earlier. It doesn't matter. Really.
This is why they're
a
big
French guy,
weekend
though,
winners, though, T-Bob. The draft's not great. There's not that one can't-miss prospect, but you only had a 3% chance to win. Like, the Hawks were a borderline playoff team this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They get to that play-in game.
Yeah.
You have Trae Young, you have DeJounte Murray, and now you have the #1 pick. Which superstar do you want? Reach out to a team and be like, hey, set up a little bit of a trade package here if we need to. If you don't feel good about the guys at the top of that draft.
You don't have Wemby.
Tight a few years
you don't have Wemby in this draft, obviously. Like, you don't have a Zion. You don't have a LeBron. But there's 2 Frenchmen that are at the top of every draft ranking, and then you got Donovan.
2 Frenchmen?
Yeah. I'm not. Dude. You got Donovan Klingen from UConn.
They may be a problem in the
as
Olympics,
well.
honestly.
So, got some good players. It's not going to be one of those drafts where Anthony Bennett is the #1 overall pick.
Well, the guy number 1, apparently #1 projected French guy is 7'1", 217. So he's another skinny, tall guy. So we'll see.
The other one's 6'10", 193.
Yeah.
Chocolate bleu.
T-Bob. 6'10", 193 pounds.
Yeah, bro. I mean, after watching Chet Holmgren and Wemby play this year, I've just accepted that like aliens exist and they are among us. And they learned how to play basketball, and for some reason their bodies don't break like they used to when Manute Bol played. Less physical game, I suppose.
Yeah, Mario finally admitted through text that his Chet Holmgren take was wrong.
Oh, why? What did he say that he wasn't going to be?
You don't remember?
Good?
He's like, he's not going to be any good. He's not going to last. He's not going to hold up. And
he has not played well in this series.
Since we're all admitting things, I had that same take, and I'll admit that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Chet Holmgren?
I also thought that about Chet Holmgren. Yep.
I worried. I didn't think he was going to end up. Yeah, I thought he was going to struggle with the size.
I mean, just look at the guys that were before him. But yeah, I mean, Holmgren's obviously different.
Well, and I think the game is different. Obviously.
Yeah.
You can't just bully guys like you used to. And now, like, guys are playing around the perimeter a ton. Shout out to we had some baseball state champions declared over the weekend. Weekend winners to U-High, West Monroe Catholic, Turlands Catholic, Lutcher, South Beauregard, Oak Grove, Quitman, Opelousas Catholic, and Avoye Public Charter, as you all find yourselves crowned state champions. We should have a tournament of champions to determine the ultimate champion.
Yeah.
I'm sure have enough teams.
Yes. Because some of those lower divisions had like 8 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. U-High came back. They were down 7-1.
8-1.
8-1.
Yeah,
and
won
they had a
11-8.
massive comeback.
Shout out my guy in the 7th inning. I think they're down 8-1. Shout out my guy Chuck E. Cheese on Saturday. He was showing me the highlights on his phone as I was chasing the 3 kids around.
And I believe they lost
They were in a tough bracket, too. I mean, they had Sulphur in that bracket. They had Parkview, who was really good this year. Like, U-High's bracket was by far the toughest of any state champion.
And the team that they beat in baseball is the team they lost to, if I'm not mistaken,
St. Charles,
in football, right?
That's
In the
correct.
semifinals. So a little redemption.
Yep.
Go Cubs. You know how the Bears are doing the Bear Claw?
Should we do that?
No, we do a little Cub Claw. A little Cub Paw.
Oh, because you can't,
Little Cub Paw.
Yeah. First state championship in school history. Are we doing
For
loser?
baseball?
Are we doing loser? Yeah, for baseball.
Yeah, go. Do a loser.
Loser, EA
Taylor.
Sports.
Oh, never mind. What?
EA Sports,
are you doing
yeah.
the Heisman edition
The Heisman
pricing?
edition, yeah. $150 for the Heisman edition. And this just goes to show that EA as they ruined Madden in the last 10 years with all the Ultimate Team stuff, they're clearly going to be ruining college football with a bunch of microtransactions and having you probably pay money to get NIL deals, like actual money.
No.
Yeah,
So
it's going to happen.
What is the difference?
It's going to happen.
No. Back. You're going a step too far.
It's going to happen.
Will they have Ultimate Team? Absolutely.
Yes.
Eventually, will Ultimate Team likely take away from the development of the game because they put more and more resources into it because it's a big moneymaker?
Yes.
Absolutely. But what you just said is not true.
Okay, we'll
You're
see.
not going to have microtransactions in the dynasty mode and whatnot.
All right.
$150 for the Heisman edition seems extreme.
What's the difference between the Heisman edition and the regular?
We don't know yet.
That's what we're saying.
This is all mined through a GameStop
It's
listing.
probably going to be they're probably going
Bunch
to
of
give you
card packs,
they're going to give you a
stuff
bunch
like
of
that.
packs, a bunch of free currency, virtual
Yeah.
currency, all that stuff. And also recently, the EA Sports CEO recently said they're exploring ads in major games. So don't be surprised if you start seeing commercials while you're playing your football games.
EA sucks. I think, though, that this game, I still think for the most part, I think they're handling correctly. Like, if you look at the cover that they came out with, I feel like the choices on the cover are pretty shrewd there. But yeah, $150, which is not confirmed.
Not confirmed.
How many more days do we have till the big reveal? 4 days?
I think 3 or 4.
3 or 4 days? They have a countdown clock somewhere.
So you thought the cover was going to have Donovan Edwards, the most prominent on the cover?
No, hell no. That's what I'm saying. That's actually a shrewd choice by EA.
Yeah.
I think they're showing you that, like, I mean, if we want to go nerdy about the EA cover, we can do that next. I can go nerdy on it. I've got a lot of thoughts on it. And we should go to break, actually. When we get back, more OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PECbuilt.com. Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PEC. Get it? PECbuilt.com, and go look at the galleries, y'all. If you need any sort of outdoor construction, be it like an outdoor kitchen, outdoor living space, any sort of fencing, any type of fence, any length, any size, any bulkheads, any pergolas, it's all there for you at PECbuilt.com. But what about pools? Both fully customizable, or check out the spec pools, where you choose from a number of different templates. Within the template, you have a lot of options on detail work, so you make the pool your own, and then before you know it, the pool of your dreams is yours. PECbuilt.com.
Go to the website today to see everything that T-Bob is telling you about, because they can do so much for your backyard space. Now, you don't even have to have a pool. Now, we encourage you, I mean, the efficiency of how quickly they can get these pools done, but you don't even need one for them to come change your outdoor living space. Give them a call today. Check out the website to see what they can do for you, PECbuilt.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
Join me for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, reacting to LSU and Alabama from Tuscaloosa and Paul Skeen's Major League debut. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
OTB, OT, with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Here's a pretty cool weekend winner. Champ says Lutcher's Marshall Loke. He had 4 starts in which he gave up 2 earned runs and struck out 37, Jake. He had 4 home runs, 4 triples, had 12 ribbies.
I'm pretty sure he's an LSU commit already.
He's
too.
a Little League World Series champ. What is PG National Champ? Why am I blanking?
Perfect game.
Okay, Perfect Game National Champ. He's a Marucci World Series champ. He's a 2-time state champ. He's a 2-time 3A Player of the Year, and he's a junior. Jeez, Marshall.
So he's pretty good.
Relax. Save some for the rest of the kids out there, dude. That's insane. Great call by Champ, though. Definitely worth mentioning there. Unreal. Luke. Oh, not Loke. Pronounced Luke. Excuse me. Oh, it's L-O-U. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable there. I
need Champ to tell me. I've also heard about the
Marshall Luke,
the Lutcher catcher. I don't know his name. Someone was talking about the Lutcher baseball team with me over the weekend, and I heard the catcher is also somebody that we need to be paying attention to, because I think Marshall, is already an LSU commit. Champ, you can confirm that with us.
Here is my thoughts. Okay, so Jacob Beck during the break was expressing that you think the EA Sports college football game has no chance of being good.
I think that there's a very good chance that it is a subpar to below average game in terms of gameplay wise. And people are just going to go buy it because they haven't had one in forever. And even if the game isn't that good, people are still going to buy it and it's going to sell 1 million copies.
I think, there's a lot of truth that it's going to sell no matter what. I would agree with that. I maybe I'm just more of an optimist. I think the game will eventually get to where you're talking about, right? As we go back to a yearly release where you don't have a lot of time to innovate, you don't have a lot of time to improve. And as we said, when you get to a point where you're just putting all your resources, your development resources into just Ultimate Team. Like, I understand that you can say, oh, well, if you hate Ultimate Team, just don't play it. That's fine. But again, when it comes to development and that's all they're putting the effort towards, well, the rest of the game does suffer for it. That said, I actually think that EA knows how right they need to get this one if they really want to relaunch this franchise to a point where they can financially exploit it.
I can see that.
On the level of a Madden or FIFA. They've been working on this for years. This is not a 1-year development cycle, right? So they've already got way more time, way more runway to work with. You mentioned when Herbie's talking about not Herbie, when Fowler's talking about recording for the last 2+ years, and then we hear there's like multiple announcing teams. When you combine the release of this game with the insane state that college football is in, where 2024 is the most important, most different, most groundbreaking year in college football we've ever seen, like, I think that they're going to go out of their way to make this one good. I think the eventual fall will come when you go back to yearly and it starts to kind of struggle more and more to improve. And one thing I will say, I feel like the development team continues to do a pretty good job of showing you that, like, they appreciate college football. And if we look at the deluxe edition cover, having Donovan Edwards right there in the middle was a bit of a surprise. I kind of thought that you'd go with the easy chalk, maybe in Shadur Sanders, right? You put Edwards in the middle, front and center. You honor the reigning national champions. You honor a player who dominated the national champion. As my boy Joshua Perry pointed out last week when I was in Chicago, some kind of potentially interesting, Jake, connective tissue to the previous cover, which the last one would have been with Denard Robinson.
Yeah.
But more so about honoring the champ, right? No Shadur to be found. What you do have are the quarterbacks who are on the contenders. You get Quinn Ewers, you get Jalen Milroe, you get Carson Beck. Kind of your big three when you're talking about the best quarterbacks that are on the best teams. You still get some prime Colorado representation, but you get it in a much cooler package with Travis Hunter, who's unique in the entire country. The best two-way player, kind of the only two-way player in a lot of ways that we know of in the entire country. You get your Ohio State brand in there with a major transfer in Quinshon Judkins.
How about that? On the cover before he even puts the uniform on.
Big surprise. I thought they were going to do that with Caleb Downs. I think so. Going to do it with Judkins, but still showing that, like, even there, you're kind of showing transfer portal. You're showing that Ohio State should be one of the favorites. Like, I think this is a shrewd, maybe I'm giving too much credit because I'm so excited. Again, I think this is a pretty shrewd selection here in terms of who all made this cover by EA.
I think it's going to be funny, though, how poorly all of these covers age because so many of these players are going to be transferring to other teams, and so they're going to be guys
of those
well,
players,
not here. No, all these guys should be set.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
Most likely, yeah.
But I know what you're saying, like, maybe in the future. We'll see.
Probably.
Well, and we still have individual covers that have to come out. Like, we don't know who's going to be on those, so there's still potential for that kind of stuff, for sure.
It is kind of it's kind of cool to see on the Texas helmet, SEC sticker, on the Colorado helmet, a Big 12 sticker.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah, a little, conference realignment, another thing that's being represented here.
I believe LSU, if you go to the wide angle, I think LSU snuck in kind of on the right side. They're getting them a little bit of the fringe Oklahoma treatment. USC probably a little too front and center for my money there, but it is SC. You want
but
some
at the
sort
same
of
time,
Western representation.
It's a nameless, faceless jersey. So,
oh no, I know.
Yeah.
I just mean in terms of like who you're choosing to put on there.
Yeah.
They again shrewdly.
Wait.
What's that?
USC doesn't have their names on the back of a jersey, right?
No. So 88 could be somebody.
Could be somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Just the same way that, like, I don't know who that Notre Dame player is, but that could be somebody as well. Is that Alabama sneaking in on the right? Is that Caden Proctor? Because that'd be funny.
Right there?
Yeah.
No.
What number is that? I can't see it from
It's
here.
like 11 maybe.
Oh,
or-
okay, never mind. I thought it was like 74.
Or maybe Virginia Tech. I can't tell. Oklahoma. I don't know.
You see the Oregon helmet peeping through between Colorado and Ohio State.
I think
Makes
that's
sense.
Arkansas up in the front right in front of Tennessee, I believe.
Kind of
over
the
there.
Big 12 challenger. So look again.
A little Washington, a little UW next to Travis Hunter.
This kind of feels like, okay, we get it. We are not just surface level college football fans. There's maybe a little depth there. Maybe I'm giving too much credit. We got the full reveal coming up in a couple days.
Yeah, I just can't help but be pessimistic from just seeing what EA has done. So I will be pleasantly surprised if this game ends up being a love letter to college football and isn't totally focused on microtransactions. But
I think it'll be a bit of both. It's not going to be wholly not focused on microtransactions, because whether it's FIFA Ultimate Team, Madden Ultimate Team, whatever, that's how FIFA makes so much hay. But again, I have to imagine every way they're kind of treating this rollout feels like they know the gravitas behind this game and how right they have to get it.
I agree.
So we'll see. We'll see over time, but I'm pumped, man. A couple more days till we will know way more.
I'm not going to have the opportunity to play as much as I would like to, but I think everyone of our age is going to buy this game. Like, I don't know anybody that's not at least going to purchase the game. And again, it might not be the best financial advice if you're not going to play it, but still. It's like you owe it.
I'm an idiot. I'll probably buy the deluxe edition or the Heisman edition.
Even Hunt Palmer, he said he hasn't. I think he said he hasn't played a video game since NCAA Football 13. He said he's probably going to buy it. So,
well, if nothing else, it's almost like it becomes a curiosity. How does it play? What are the modes? How do they handle like the sim aspects of the portal and NIL resources? And just, how deep do all of these potential holes go? So what is this? Have you seen the screenshot of Notre Dame that leaked out?
Yes, I've seen it.
It's pretty damn good.
It looks pretty good. There's like the sun shining off the gold helmets. It looks pretty good.
I don't know if they're doing like ray tracing or whatnot, but it looks pretty damn good.
They will be.
Ray tracing is a way of, instead of like, and I'm way over my head here, to my understanding, Beck, maybe you can help me out. It's all about like how light is represented in games, and instead of you doing the raw coding, saying like this is how this light should bounce, or creating your own.
It's like
coding.
artificial, instead of being like an artificial lighting, as you're going in there and saying this is how bright it should be.
Yeah.
Yes, and ray tracing is supposed to be much more like actual.
It's way more
light,
realistic
right?
in terms of like lighting and like shadows and the way that the way that stuff bounces off of others. Like you can see it in that photo with Notre Dame where the helmets and the gold helmets and the light coming off of it looks very realistic as compared to older games.
Yeah. It looks pretty good.
It looks good.
My wife's calling me a liar, said you'll be in there with Jackson. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. So what I do is I'll go, hang out with Jack, see what he's doing. He's playing Madden. I'm like, hey, let me get serious. And I'll play one series.
Is he playing online? Because I would not be happy if I was playing online and you were trying to snag the series.
No, he does. He plays like Dynasty, which is something like that's how I always played as well. Then he gets mad at me because like I'm changing the routes or whatever, and I'm like, look, they're playing cover 3 right here. I'm going to hit this in the seam real quick. He's like, Dad, just play the game. I'm like, I'm trying to teach you.
You're strategizing.
That is. I mean, I agree with you. Like if you ever want to be really great online, those are the things you got to
understand.
Yeah, like if they're playing cover 1, like I'm going to switch my routes to be cover 1 beaters.
I would say this: the most basic thing you could do. Yes, if once you get into identifying coverage, that's another level. But like a very basic thing anybody listening can do is learn to identify man or zone, and then know on a play, like if it's man, I'm going here. If it's zone, I'm going here. Yep. And that'll beat 95% of people that you will run into online.
Yes.
Until you get to the highest echelons there.
We need to turn our office. Here's what we need to do. We need to turn our office into like a little
streaming setup.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to move my, I have to move my computer in there so that it's not, that is probably what the plan's going to end up being eventually.
Look, what's a big screen TV now? Like a couple $100?
Yeah,
like
you could get like
you can get one of those like smart TVs at
Walmart,
like a
55
inch, playing on a monitor though.
$300.
I was saying like if we wanted to like make it a little hang.
Oh yeah, we could do like
we
could try to do whenever the game comes out, we could do like a Road to Glory or something where everybody like chips in and we try to build a LSU dynasty or something like that.
I'm down. I mean, there's a lot of fun potential there to be had.
But if you get on these sticks, You got to hold your own.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
I mean, well, let's just go toe-to-toe and see who's the best then. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be good. I'm never surprised if you're telling me the headline is EA wants more money, of course, but I'm still pumped, man. All right, when we get back, more OTB. Should the Pelicans extend Brandon Ingram? Keep it locked.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU, Alabama, and baseball. David DeLucci will be here, and our takeaways from Saints rookie minicamp, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Yeah. And you say Shot City, Shot City, Shot City. I'm coming home again. Do you think about me now and then? Yeah. Do you think about me now and then?
OTB, OT, with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back. All right, so we'll have a couple minutes here, and then we'll leave a few minutes for Ask the Bench here at the end. But should the Pelicans extend Brandon Ingram? Brandon Ingram will be eligible for a 4-year, $208 million extension. That is $52 million a year. 52. And this is for a player that's missed a full 82 over the last 3 years combined. So a season's worth of games within 3 seasons. I don't think anybody, I think it's pretty basic. Anybody who hears that number says no, right? I don't know who would sit there and say yes. And, well, for whatever it's worth, the Pelicans are kind of agreeing with you. As it is being reported, the Pelicans are open to extending Ingram, but not at the max amount. And I wonder, is there a market for Brandon Ingram at the max? Will other teams extend? Would other teams be willing to give him that full amount?
I don't know how you can, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because what did you want Brandon Ingram to do? You wanted him to be your one. He kind of proved time and time again with Zion not in that lineup that he cannot consistently be your one. If you're going to pay a guy $52 million a year, you better make damn sure that, like, this is the killer. This is the guy I want to take over late in games. Pelicans didn't have that. You cannot pay this guy this money. Now, offer him a contract for sure. I'm all for bringing him back. But if is somebody else, like you're saying, is somebody going to pay him that $52 million a year? I can't imagine what team it is, because what team out there is a Brandon Ingram away from winning? And if they are, he's not going to be their one. Are you really going to pay him $52 million a year for a 2 or a 3? Because, like, the Bucks could do it, but they got Giannis and Lillard. They're not paying him $52 million a year. The Hawks could do it. They can trade away their number one pick.
The Holiday getting him to the Celtics felt like they were putting all their stuff into Dame, and I just don't know. So, like, they should have kept Holiday. The Bucks, like, they're probably like, ugh. And even, like, Drew Holiday, like, with the Celtics now, doesn't feel like he's getting the same run. So I don't know that the Bucks love where they're at right now. So they could make moves.
Yeah, the Bucks should hate where they're at. Why'd they fire Boodles?
Well, not only that, Adrian Griffin was 30-13 when he got fired.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers went 13-20.
No, I know. I don't understand that at all.
So the Pelicans without Brandon Ingram last year were 11-7. So they had a winning record. That includes wins against Oklahoma City, against Dallas, against Miami, against Phoenix, against Sacramento, against Golden State. So we're not talking about you beating the bottom barrel teams.
No.
We're talking about beating playoff or play-in teams, including the number 1 seeded Oklahoma City team.
And at times when you had to have it.
You also, by the way, you beat Milwaukee 107-100. So, like, in your wins without Brandon Ingram, like 7 or 8 of those are against really good basketball teams.
Now, what if Ingram wants to take a hometown discount? Or whatever.
That's not going to happen.
I just think
he might have to.
You've just done the same thing, and this is not against BI. It's just something has to happen.
Yeah.
And we have heard through the grapevine that CJ is the calming force in the locker room. He is the veteran vet.
And his contract's friendly. You're not overly worried about his contract.
So he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Valanciunas is going to be up. We've heard they're not bringing him back. So that's going to change. But if you bring back Brandon Ingram again, it's just like you're going to win some games. You're going to have success. But what are you going to do when it matters in the postseason? It's just this combination has not shown that it's going to be, one that can go win playoff series. Unfortunately, like I like BI. Like I wish it worked out. But with the contract situation like it is, where you're at as a team, it just feels like you are not going to continue forward with the same line.
Yeah, you bring him back, you're basically the same team you were a year ago, right? Because you replace Giannis with Jonas with a similar, big man.
That's the thing. He is the best. And we'll go to break here, but
he is Zach Edey.
He is your best. He is your best bet on probably filling that big man void. Is moving Brandon Ingram. So we'll see.
My thing on Brandon Ingram, he's missed 103 games in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
He misses. He's going to miss 15 to 20 games a year. You're paying this guy $52 million. He's going to play 60 games.
You have a winning record, by the way. The last 50. I think his last 50 games. I think you're 26-24 without him. So even like if you expand this past his 18 games that he missed this year.
So feeling more and more with the Pelicans saying they're not over to the max that. This will likely be move on time. Yeah. All right, when we get back, Ask the Bench. Brought to you by Cold Curse Life is Heroes, Blue Moonlight Sky, Citrus Sweet.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to Community Steel Company, CommunitySteelCo.com, Community Steel Company, CommunitySteelCo.com. You need steel. You need Community Steel, okay? You need metal roofing, sheet metal, trim, accessories, purlin, tubing, any and all of it manufactured right there on site in Gonzales. If you have personal steel needs or you're a business, look, they have a live and local sales team that is ready to help you. Imagine that. Unlike these national companies, actual human beings you can meet, shake their hands, form relationships. They can learn how to better serve your needs. And it all comes to the best prices because, again, they buy directly from the wholesaler. They manufacture it themselves. Community Steel Company, communitysteelco.com.
Yeah, when you go to their website, top right corner of that site, we tell you every single day, click on that. It's going to show you exactly where they're at in Gonzales, Louisiana. They've been there for almost 3 hours already waiting on you. They encourage you to come see them in the showroom. Again, do it today in Gonzales, Louisiana, communitysteelco.com, 225-647-2020.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked.
Sandigrove, join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch from Walk-Ons in Brewley. Take a look back at LSU's series with Alabama. Where did softball end up in a huge weekend in the NBA playoffs? Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, Jake, we got a little last second weekend winner before we get to ask the bench.
Yeah, I forgot. This one's on me. Christian Pulisic scored a goal yesterday. So Mother's Day in, the United States, but he's playing over in Italy.
Yeah.
Actually doing really well for AC Milan.
Great season.
Great season. One of the best seasons I think he's contributed like 19 goals, which was third in the league. But he's a weekend winner because he scored the goal on Mother's Day, and he actually wore his mother's maiden name, Harlow, on the back of his jersey
let's go, dude.
for Mother's Day, which is cool, and scored a goal.
Jake's
with
daughter's name.
Yeah, my daughter's name's Harlow, so it got my attention. But that's pretty cool. He changed his last name on his kit to his mom's maiden name on Mother's Day, scored a goal.
Really badass all around. Shout out to all the moms, weekend winners. I hope you all had an excellent Mother's Day. Ask the bench. Would you take LeBron for a year at a value price if it meant you had to draft Bronny in the second round?
No. Not at this point in his career.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes. You've missed on lottery picks.
If I could just add LeBron and know that I wasn't taking away from anything else, I would take him. Yeah. No. I mean, like, I don't want to give if I'm the Pelicans, I don't want to give up like Herb or like Trey.
If you get LeBron in free agency, yes.
Yes, I'm saying if I just get LeBron, I'll absolutely draft Bronny.
Sure.
Easy, no question. For sure, 1,000%.
Hey, you're a second round pick. Hey, you can go down to the very last spot down there.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to Birmingham, bro.
No,
you can
stay here with us.
Go 15 deep on this roster.
Yeah.
As mentioned, if you ever watch 30-minute sitcom reruns all day long, what would it be?
Seinfeld.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I was actually going to say Always Sunny.
Easily.
Eastbound and Down.
Does that count as a sitcom?
I would say no.
That makes me laugh.
Yeah,
I don't think that's what would be the definition of sitcom?
I guess like sitcom,
laugh track needs to have a laugh track.
Yeah, I think but it always doesn't.
Always
have
doesn't have a laugh track.
Maybe cable TV.
Maybe more than like 3 seasons, probably 2.
I
don't
would
know.
say it has to almost feel like formulaic, where you know you're getting like.
It's not like really a continuous storyline.
Yeah, Martin works. There we go.
You don't have to follow it. You can turn on a random episode and know what's going on.
Yeah, Eastbound and Down is like a continuous story.
Hey, look, chill out, y'all.
Ask the
It's a
bench.
good show. I love it.
Makes me laugh.
It's good.
Martin's the answer.
Is Gronk much smarter than everyone thinks? He was killed out the roast.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, probably for sure.
I heard him say specimen one time instead of specimen, so I'm not sure.
I don't know, y'all. He is a meathead, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
He's got some intelligent things, though, dude. I mean, he manages money well.
Oh, yeah.
Will we get an OTB Christmas Day special since T-Bob used up all his PTO before June? Not true. There's more PTO left. Just wait and see.
No.
Ask the bench.
I've got like a month, so.
Where'd it go? I don't understand this question. What do women's lamentations sound like? He was asking what is best in life. Taylor, do you know what is best in life?
Do I know what is best in life?
Yes.
Like, for me?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
What are you, an idiot? All right, we love you. Thank you for joining us today. Great Monday, guys. We'll be back Tuesday. Got a brand new OTB mailbag.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Y'all have a great day. All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com is what we do in the shadows of sitcom.
I guess. I mean, y'all
I don't think so.
what it is. My God.
No, nobody's gatekeeping. Look, we just got to look up a definition. Like if you look up the definition of what is the best local car dealership to buy new, used, lease, rent, All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge would be the answer. And remember, if you need a service center, body shop, whatever the case may be, All-Star Toyota welcomes all makes and models. So get in there today, All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, All-Star Toyota, BatonRouge.com.
Yeah, it's a great list of sitcoms we'll talk about after the show, but we'll talk about All-Star Toyota here, buying, new, leasing, renting a vehicle. They've got you covered. The best part about it, like truly the best part, is everything's available, even in the rental process. Summer vacation, days, weeks away. Go ahead and schedule your vehicle. Call Miss Lisa Sessions today in the rental department, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported